Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Jon Jones versus Cyril Gane. What happened? How did it happen? What on earth was that? Guys, check out jujiclub.com. Use level up 50 for 50% off. Use level up 50 off. The promo code is on the bottom of your screen. Get strong and stable running. Get strong and stable knees. Get any video on jiu-jitsu. I got a whole library of jiu-jitsu, striking. You got it all. Use level up 50 off to get 50% off. All those videos are gold. I stand by them. You will enjoy them. You will love it. It will make you better in martial arts and keep you from getting injured, and of course get you in the best shape of your life. Okay, guys, what happened with Jon Jones? Yes, I thought Jon Jones was going to win, but I didn't think it was going to be that easy. I didn't think it was going to be that easy. I want to talk about heavyweights. For a second, okay? Now, everybody loves heavyweight fighting. I love heavyweight fighting. We all love it. But there's something you guys need to know about heavyweights, okay? You see, when you're a heavyweight and you're born in martial arts, you go through your teen years, wrestling, boxing, doing jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. And then one day you're the biggest guy in the practice room, but you used to be the smallest guy and you grew up in the gym and you got so good because bigger, stronger guys beat you up. You learn how to use technique. You learn how to use finesse. However, when you're a heavyweight, you're fully grown, and then you jump into martial arts. You never had a period in your martial arts career where you were one of the smaller guys in the room. When heavyweights walk into a gym, everybody's smaller than them. Like if you put me with a heavyweight to roll with him, if he's a blue belt and he's a heavyweight, I'm a black belt, he's a blue belt, he might even dominate. It might even be even. Okay, it's going to be difficult for me because he has so much more weight. Even if he's just a blue belt. Because obviously weight matters. Okay, size matters, guys. There's no doubt about it. Okay, that's why we have weight classes. Cyril Gane was boasting about how he doesn't train between practice. He doesn't train between fights. People were asking me, how do you get so good so fast? Guys, I hate to say it, but heavyweights are not as skilled. They're not as skilled. That's what I saw that night. I saw a guy who's a black belt in wrestling, jiu-jitsu, striking versus a guy who's a very good striker, but blue belt everywhere else. And he didn't have the size advantage. That way his regular moves don't work. The regular stuff he does that work in the practice room didn't work. Why? One, he probably Cyril started training later in life when he was already the biggest guy in the room. He's more athletic than most heavyweights, so he moves like a cat. I got to give him that, guys. He moves like a cat. So his striking always was superior. Like he was a way better striker than guys striking longer than him just because he had that athleticism, he had that mobility. He had that advantage. He never developed a black belt level or elite level of wrestling or grappling. I saw a guy who was, I would say, a blue belt. Now, here's the other thing. He never fought a great wrestler. And Gane was a scary takedown. Why? Because, he's so dangerous with his fists that you don't care if he takes you down. You rather him try to take you down than strike with him. Okay, I get that. I'm going to give him a pass on that. But he's never really fought a wrestler. He's only fought strikers. The second he threw that big shot on Jon and missed, and Jon slipped that punch, it was kind of like in a duck under already. That was just basic wrestling. Got him down to the ground in a referee's position when they're on all fours. Jon broke him down and put him in a basic guillotine. Now look, I watched it live. The first time I saw it, I was like, maybe he could have got out of that guillotine. The second time I saw it on the replay, no, it looked tight. It looked like he was caught. But man, the skill, if they fought again, I would give it 85 to 15. 85% Jon Jones, 15% Cyril Gane. Jon with one ab, his stomach, you look at his stomach. Jon with one ab beat Cyril Gane easy. And he could do it again. If they restarted that fight, I would pick Jon. If they restarted that fight 10 times, I would pick Jon. I think he's levels above. And if he fights Ngannou, call me crazy if you like, but he's going to beat Ngannou. Not that he's going to fight Ngannou. I don't think that fight's going to happen. But he beats Ngannou. And if he fights Miocic, I'm telling you guys now, I haven't done a pre-fight analysis yet. He'll beat Miocic. He'll beat him. They didn't strike for long. A lot of people are going to be like, hey, if it stayed up longer, I think the striking would have been fairly even. It would have been back and forth. It would have been a seesaw battle. But like I told you guys in the pre-fight analysis, the second, John's not dumb. The second he sees a takedown, he's going to take it. And you guys are going to see John dominate him. Now, I thought Cyril Gane was big enough, athletic enough to muscle his way up. But I didn't realize how green he was on the ground after I saw the way he was moving and reacting. He's green on the ground, guys. He should train between training camps. He says he doesn't train between training camps. I believe him now. I believe him. I really do believe him. Okay, guys, that's what I saw. I saw two guys. Okay, early on the exchange, it was pretty even. Groin shot, pause. They took a pause. John got hit in the groin. It was a legitimate groin strike. Not like he wasn't faking. He really did get hit in the groin. They gave a pause. They start again. What happens? They're both throwing oblique kicks. They both miss. Nothing significant. Cyril loads up with a big shot. Misses. John saw it from a mile away. Moved his head out of the way. Cyril overreached. He looked nervous. He looked like he didn't know what to do. And I'll tell you guys why. Let me tell you why. Because like I told you guys in the pre-fight analysis, Cyril can't bring anybody in with an 84.5-inch reach that also has that athleticism. I don't think there's another, I'm telling you guys, I don't think there's another guy in the world. I've seen guys with 84.5-inch reach. But I've never seen a guy with a reach like John who can move like John, who moves like a cat. So who are you going to bring to prep for John? Who are you going to bring to prep for John? Not only that, the guy you would want to bring into prep, he's also got to be able to wrestle. How many guys can do that? There is none. I can't find one. I can't think of another guy. I can think of guys who are at that level that can compete with John, but not that they can do what John does. Like, for instance, Daniel Cormier, brilliant fighter. If you brought him in, he'd be great sparring, but he's not the same type of fighter as John. He fights a different way. He's as efficient. He's as successful. He's as dangerous. He's very, very competent. But he doesn't have a long reach. He doesn't shoot the same way. He doesn't kick the same way. He has a different style. It wouldn't be the right preparation. It could bring intensity. It could bring a lot of things, but it won't bring the same style of fighting. Okay? Cyril Gane looked to me like he was shocked. And I told you guys, I told you that he's going to have to figure it out on fight night. The first 2 rounds, if he doesn't figure it out in the first 2 rounds, he's going to get destroyed. He has 1 or 2 rounds max, because if it takes too long to figure out, he's dead. Actually, he seemed to be nervous when he was striking. He overthrew. Listen, it happened to the best of them. I think he was also, between me and you, between us all, I got to say publicly, I think he was intimidated. In his mind, this guy's the GOAT. He's so good. He's so good. He was intimidated. It looked like that to me when he was fighting. I just didn't see his confidence there, especially in the striking. In the striking, he overthrew. He was scared. He wasn't calculated. That was my opinion. Guys, let me know your thoughts. I'm going to take comments and questions. I'm not going to go too long on it. It wasn't that long of a fight, even though it was a great fight. I wasn't disappointed. I thought it was, sometimes, I remember the Tyson fights. Tyson fights used to last like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And people used to complain. I paid... back then it was like $5,000 for a ticket. It lasted 30 seconds. The fight lasted 15 seconds. Yeah, but what if 15 seconds, man? How many fights are you going to see where a guy is a world champion and nobody can last more than 20 seconds with him? Guys, if you haven't seen the early Mike Tyson days, if you haven't seen those fights, go back and watch them. It was like watching a video game character. It was a sight to behold. All right, guys, with that said, let me take your comments and questions on the fight only, please. Just the fight. I thought decision. That's from Dude Stir. Dude Stir, I agree with you, my friend. I thought decision too. Now, let me tell you why. Because Gane didn't get finished by Ngannou. And John has submissions in the past, but he was subbing smaller guys. And I know he's not in love with jiu-jitsu, even though he's good at jiu-jitsu. He's not in love with it. He's going to study all the details. But Cyril Gane showed me he's really just a blue belt. Like, guys, anybody can get caught with a guillotine. Anybody, even a black belt. I'm not saying because he got caught in the guillotine, he's a blue belt. No. What I'm saying is his reactions to John's controls and his reaction to his defense, how he was defending, shows me he's not more than a blue belt. That's how I would grade him. Cyril's face, he was speechless. That's from Drew Meyer. Look, John has 14 title fights. Cyril has like 13 or 14 fights. It's a different world, guys. John grew up in combat sports. I know he says, "Oh, I was training only 9 months for my first MMA fight." Yes, but you did jiu-jitsu. Sorry, you did wrestling since you can walk. You know, he has over 300 wrestling matches. I know him personally. Okay, he used to tell me every summer his father would put him in wrestling camp. Every summer in his youth, wrestling camp, wrestling camp. Wrestling is a martial arts. They have ground and they have standing, and they condition you. So all you got to really do left is striking and submission. That's the cherry on the top. But wrestling builds so much athleticism that it will make you a good striker. So just two guys, different worlds, guys. If they fought again, it'll be the same similar result. Maybe the fight goes a little deeper, but at the end of the day, it's John scoring a takedown. It's John controlling. And even, I would tell you guys, John dominating the striking. Why? Because he's too scary. Like, Gane is going to be so worried about the wrestling. He won't be able to trade in a way that's going to be aggressive. He's going to have to be... Look, the second he threw heat, he got taken down, destroyed. Now you start thinking twice. Hey, if I missed a shot, I can get taken. The whole fight, it's too much of a tightrope. You're fighting on a tightrope. If I make a little mistake, it's death. You can't have that. You can't have that mentality. You got to be like, look, I'm going to throw, and if the guy tries to take me down, I'm going to twist and turn like Adesanya does. Guys take him down. He twists, he turns, he hip heists, he rolls, he gets out of it. He scrambles out. He's got layers of defense, so he can jump right back on you. Not Gane when it comes to wrestling and John Jones. He's not there. Who beats John Jones? Brock Lesnar? That's from Joseph Benjamin. No, I think John would beat Brock Lesnar. Guys, he would probably get taken down by Brock Lesnar, but he would get up and he'd invent. Guys, if you guys don't know, Brock Lesnar is not a really good striker. I know you guys seen him do a little striking in his career, but he's you know, you've also seen him get hit. I know guys who've trained with him. They said, look, basically his sparring partners are not allowed to hit him. Like it's a very controlled sparring. He's not a boxer. He's really not a boxer. He's the type of guy, he could take anybody in the world down. He can get on top of you and maul you. But I think John's going to be very difficult to hold down. I think John would beat Brock Lesnar. Honestly, I think he would. John would eventually get to his feet, tag him, catch him, elbow him, knee him. It would be trouble. John looked like a wreck, though. He's overweight. Moon Boy. That's from Moon Boy. Well, they had him on 5,000 calories. I don't think 5,000 calories is crazy. It depends what he was eating, okay? I don't want to get too deep in it, but there's something called the thermogenic effect, okay? I learned this from PhD John Berardi, okay? PhD in nutrition, very famous guy, very famous nutritionist. And he's like, look, sometimes you eat foods, and those foods, for your body to metabolize it, it costs your body calories. It's hard for your body to break it down. I don't want to butcher the man's work, but that's how I understood it, okay? Like certain foods you eat, it costs energy to break them down, and certain foods cost very little energy, so they're more easily absorbed. So like if you take a spoonful of sugar, or you eat an apple, they might have the same amount of calories, but the apple's hard to break. Your body has to work to get that sugar out of that apple, okay? So let's say, I don't know, an apple's 70 calories, and you eat 70 calories of sugar. The two are not the same. Your body doesn't process them the same, okay? So it might cost more energy to break down the sugars in that apple. So your body has to work to get that 70 calories, has to, let's say, I don't know, I'm just guessing here, spend 10 calories. So it's really 60. So if you eat a lot of high quality, dense foods, he wouldn't be fat like that. Okay, I agree, guys. He didn't look like he should. He's not eating the proper foods, and he's slightly overeating. It's an easy thing to correct. It's not complicated. And it's not good to have a gut like that. You can get injured. It kills your cardio. But the guy's that much better. He's that much better. Kifak Habibi. That's from Blue Boat. Alhamdulillah, Blue Boat. How are you? Ngannou is cut. That's from Goji. I agree with you. Look, I know he's not going to fight Ngannou, but I wish Ngannou, if he does a boxing fight, comes back. That would be epic. John Jones versus Ngannou. Like, I get it. I know he's on his way to do something else. I get it. But man, you never know. Maybe Ngannou does his boxing fight, banks in big money, and is like, you know what? Let me go get my world championship back. You never know. Coach, hope all is blessed, Akhi. Jazakallahu khair. I hope to, inshallah, you as well. Randu 604. What's up, Coach? Anthony Kenville, my boy. What's up? All right, guys. What else we got here on the fight? Nabil, it's weird John Jones calls himself the GOAT. Guys, I hate to say it, he's not the GOAT. Okay, you can't fail drug tests and be the GOAT. If you guys ask me, can I put my vote in the hat? If you get caught on a banned substance, okay, not weed or um, I don't know, they have some weird things on there like coffee or something, like caffeine and certain things, are like certain levels. Like if you get caught with a hormone, I think you should be banned for life. It's irreversible, by the way. In University of Toronto, they have a study on hormones, PEDs, and they say, look, the effects are irreversible. Okay, now think about men and women. What's the difference between men and women? Okay, we're not talking about what is a woman here. I'm not going all philosophical on you, but what's the difference between men and women in terms of physiology? Men have more testosterone. Okay, women and men have testosterone, but men have more. Men are generally, by and large, more robust, stronger, more robust. They can take more punishment. Okay, that's why we have weight category. That's why we have divisions. That's why we divide men and women. Being realistic here, it's not fair for the women to fight against men. Now there are women who are just as good as men. I could take a woman who's a professional fighter and she fights a legitimate professional fighter in the males division and wins. It can happen. It's not impossible. However, it's unlikely, and on average, men will win. Okay, we're talking on average here. What's the difference between the two? Women are just as hardworking. Women are just as smart. Women are just as dedicated. It's testosterone. So for when a man takes testosterone and he's fighting other men that are not on testosterone, it's like he's putting himself at a higher level of advantage, testosterone advantage. Now, I train little kids. At a young age, the boys and girls are quite comparable. Okay, they can wrestle back and forth, and it's quite comparable. Excuse me. However, after puberty, you can't put them together anymore. If they're the same size, you can't put them. The boys are just stronger. The boys are just, now they start to dominate. Now, at a young age, the boys have a testosterone advantage probably as like by a hair, and you could see the boys are still more aggressive. They're still more athletic, but not by much. But after puberty, guys, everything changes. First of all, the girls don't feel like training no more. They're not interested in training usually. Okay, they're not interested. They don't think it's cool anymore, and they don't want to get all roughed up. They don't like it as much. The boys get more aggressive. The girls get less aggressive. The boys get more aggressive. The boys want to train more now. Now they actually like it. Now they want to fight. They want to compete. They want to wrestle. They get more aggressive. That's what testosterone does. Okay? It makes training feel good. You want to train more. Not only does it make you stronger, not only does it make you recover more, training feels better. Now, I'm not trying to sell you guys on steroids here. I'm not trying to liver king you all. I don't think you should do it. I'm thinking it's not fair. If you get caught on that stuff, I can't put you on the list of GOAT. Why? Somebody answer me this one question, please. Why is it in cycling, if you get caught, they ban you for life and they take all your medals? Everything you ever did in your career is gone. Why in MMA you just get a slap on the wrist? You get suspended for 6 months, a year. That's nothing to a fighter. Oh, let me chill for a year. Let my wounds heal. Let the division beat each other up and let me pick the fight I want when I come back. Why is it in our sport they don't ban you for life? And not only that, you get caught and you keep your titles. You keep them all. Oh, you're still in the Hall of Fame and you're still there. Man, in Olympic sports, they ban you for life. They strip you of your gold. Why is it in combat sports? I think it should be the opposite. You know, if I'm riding my bike on the Tour de France and the guy who beat me was on juice and, you know, they catch him and they let him, you know, they suspend him, they give him a slap on the, I wouldn't be so angry. I mean, look, it sucks, but it's not. But if the guy beats you over the head, breaks your jaw, shatters your orbital, and then you're like, hey, that guy was on steroids, by the way, he gave you a concussion. What the, you know, what? And oh yeah, we're just going to give him a 6-month, 1-year suspension and he's back and he made money. He doubled his purse that day. We don't touch his purse. They don't do anything to you. It's nuts. Somebody's got to rethink this. Somebody's got to rethink this all. Miss Super Chat. Yes, sir. I'm headed on those Super Chats. All right. So I was asked if why John Jones calls himself the GOAT. Guys, I like the guy, but I can't call him the GOAT. I'm sorry. I got to be honest. Okay. If tomorrow another guy pops, I'm going to say, look, that guy, I'm going to be fair. I don't care who it is. If Khabib pops tomorrow, if GSP pops tomorrow, I'm going to say they can't be on the GOAT list. Okay. Hold me to it. Hold me. Tomorrow, if one of these guys pops, one of these guys I'm praising that I like so much, I tell you, he's the man. And he pops tomorrow, hold my feet to the fire, and I guarantee you, I will tell you, he can't be GOAT. Is it possible Jones just took a tainted substance and never wanted to dope? Should he not be given the benefit of the doubt? That's from Denzel. Denzel, you're a little bit naive, my friend. I like you. I love you. Thank you for being part of the channel. That's a bit naive. His brother was on the same substance. He's world champion. I want you to walk up to George St. Pierre. Hey, try this drink. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't put that in my... I don't know. If I don't know what that is, it's not a sealed... You're a professional fighter. You're the world champion. You don't put anything... He says, oh, they were, you know what, pills. You're taking cheap pills from the... Like, I don't believe you. That's absurd. Look, when you buy supplements, they have a tag on them. Okay, certified. Look, I get mistakes can happen. I get mistakes. How many times did it happen to John? At least twice. I lost track. I think it's 3 times now. I think it's 3 times. Don't tell me about pulsing picograms. Guys, if you... Look, here's the thing, okay? Let's be honest now. I got to be honest. And I'm telling you guys, I like the guy. I like the guy personally. When I see him, we hug, we're friends, we talk, we reminisce. He's a sweet guy. But he got into a car accident once. He hit a lady. She was pregnant, and he ran off. That ain't right, man. That ain't right. You're telling me that kind of guy is not going to... Oh, he's going to play by the rules? No. You can't be somebody who plays by the rules. That's worse. You got to question the man's ethics. Look, there's a reason. When I meet somebody like that who's fun, charismatic, successful, but then they do weird stuff like that, I like to keep them at a distance. No, we're acquaintances. We're not friends. I can't be friends with somebody like that. We could be acquaintances. Hello, hi, bye. We respect each other at a distance, and I don't want to attack or insult anybody. But I can't be best friends with a guy like that. I can't. No. It's wrong. Something's wrong, and we can't ignore it. Look how many infractions there are. I don't want to name them. I don't want to bring them up. But we know them all. These things are unacceptable. Like when I'm coming here and I'm praising the guys, I'm praising his fighting ability. I'm not praising the man. I don't want to judge the man. He had a lot of success in his youth. It could make you a little crazy. I could see parallels between him and Mike Tyson. Life is very different. Everybody wants you for your money, your fame, your life is skewed. I get it. Maybe he didn't have anybody to hold the reins. I don't know. I don't know his situation. But there are things that, regardless of the reason, they have to be fixed in your character. And it's unacceptable. These things are unacceptable. Now, I'm not saying the guys should be, ostracized or... No. But we can't accept... As a society, we can't accept these things. These things have to be made right. There's a way back for him. And I hope that he builds his credibility. But there's too many strikes for me to go give him the credit. He's got to build that credit back as a person, as a human being outside the octagon. In the octagon, he's brilliant. Outside the octagon, I'm hoping he builds credibility. I'm hoping he gets wiser and he changes his ways. I hope. Now, you're asking me to give him the benefit of the doubt after all these infractions. Google his name. Go read his past a little bit. What gives him credibility? That's what I want to hear from you. Denzel, what gives him credibility? John moves so confident. It was like Grandmaster chess player being 3 steps ahead, just waiting for Cyril to make his play and checkmate. That's from Malheb. I agree with you. Listen, he said it was going to be easy. Nobody called this fight better than John. He said it was going to be easy. I think the guy, he's not a devastating striker like everybody says. And I was saying that I think John will even dominate the striking before. And I thought I was going to get a lot of heat for it. I didn't. And I'm happy I didn't because I think I was surprised. A lot of people agree. I think a lot of people were telling me he's the best striker John ever fought. And I would agree with that. I think I might have even said that. I was expecting the fight to go to decision. I thought it was going to be tighter, but John's going to take control with the takedowns. Sooner or later, he's going to find takedowns, and he's just going to score control. I didn't know Cyril was that green in the jiu-jitsu. The 9 ancestral tenets. That's from King Vincent. Actually, King Vincent. There's a 10th tenet. There's a 10th tenet. Guys, I tried to get Liver King on my channel. Guys, I want you guys to petition him, please. You guys go on his Insta, message him, tell him to come on this channel. I want him on this channel. I want to talk to him about everything he said and done. I don't want to grill the guy too badly, but there's things that have to be said. I would love to have him on this channel. Miss my super chat. That's from Mike L. Mike L, my man. How did I miss? Mike L, your super chat? There is none, my friend. I just scrolled the whole way through and there's no Mike L. Miss super chat. Mike L, put in the chat right now. I'm looking at the chat. Please put in the chat and I'll answer to you. Do you think Cyril fought scared and panicked? That's from Draco. I think he was intimidated. I think he was. That's just the feel I got. Choked only worked because it was early in the round, no sweat. That's from Saki Suki. Yeah, that's an advantage. Early joint locks maybe, but guillotines are not that inhibited by sweat. It can. I don't want to say no, but it's more joint locks that are difficult to do when there's a lot of sweat. Leg locks, arm locks, maybe not so much kimuras, but like knee bars might be a little tougher when things are sweaty. Okay. Coach, what happened to knees over toes? That's from Hamid Jan. I asked him to do a podcast with me. He told me he wants to do it in person. So we're still waiting on that. I hope we bump into each other. I have a lot of discussions to have over him. We'll talk about knees in the future, I'm sure. It's a reoccurring subject. But right now we're on John Jones and Cyril Gane. Hey, Coach, do you think Jones was a bit slower at heavyweight? That's from Michael Ruafella. I don't think he was slower, but I want to see if he was going to slow down. Because when you have that gut, guys, if you have fat on your gut, you have fat inside your body. Okay, you have visceral fat. That visceral fat will slow down your cardio. You don't want to have visceral fat. Guys, I measure my stomach on a regular basis. Like my stomach. My stomach has to be 32 inches. Not bigger. If I go 32 and a half, I start tightening up my diet. Okay, I rather use the measurement of my stomach than my weight. Because if I put on a pound of muscle, I might not know. I might not know if I'm on track. But when I check my gut, if I check my gut and I put on, if my gut is 32 and I put on a pound of muscle, that means it's muscle. It's not fat. If I gained a pound and my gut is 32.5, I know I gained fat. You know, that's how you do it. You gotta measure your waist and use the scale. But measure your waist. It's very important to learn how to measure your waist correctly. So basically, I'm saying that because I was curious to see if John was gonna slow down in the later rounds. If he did, I would have blamed it on the fat. I would have guys, gaining fat is never good. What do you think Cyril Gane should do now, in your opinion? That's from Maujub Blank. Come train with me. Come train with me in Montreal. Spend 6 months with me. We'll fix up your jiu-jitsu when you're wrestling. We need 2-3 other heavyweights maybe to help. Actually, I got some really good Olympic level wrestlers, heavyweight. Actually, you guys have seen Mustafa on my channel. Like, he's a beast. I have a few heavy guys, and I'd love to have him in the practice room. But, you know, just go immerse yourself in jiu-jitsu. Find a great place and immerse yourself in jiu-jitsu and wrestling. He's got to immerse himself, though. He can't just do it a little bit, you know, 2 times a week during the training camp. No, forget all that. You're not gonna reach the highest level. If he's serious, he wants to be world champion. He's got to get deep into wrestling and jiu-jitsu. We were robbed of Jones versus Francis, just like we were robbed of GSP versus Khabib. Dana's continuous ways of always operating is to blame for this. I don't agree. Look, guys, Dana White, he's smart, man. He's not dumb. He's smart. Listen, if he gave Ngannou what he wants, every guy's gonna look. I'm all about the fighters making more money. Okay, I don't want you guys to take me the wrong way. I'm all about the fighters making more money. I want to see the fighters make millions like boxers. All I'm saying is Dana. He's a master negotiator. Okay, I've talked to the guy. The guy's I've had dinner with the guy. Like I've hung out with him. He's a brilliant guy. He's not. I know he talks crazy and all that. He's not dumb. When it comes to negotiation, the guy is not dumb. He wants to know why you think you deserve this, and he has to make sense. And He's trying to make his company money. The fighters are trying to make themselves money, and the promotion is trying to make themselves money, and they're fighting. And he's like, you know what, Ngannou, if I gave you more money, that means I'd have to pay these guys, and it's not worth it. You're not worth it. That's how he thinks. That's how I perceive it. He's thinking, look, I'd rather let Ngannou go because UFC is bigger than Ngannou, and I have a group of the best fighters. I have 500 of the best fighters on the world, and we don't need Ngannou to put on a show. I have these superstars that I'm building. I need 5 mega stars. I need 3 superstars, 5 mega stars, and I know how much money I'm going to make promoting. Like, he knows his business. He knows, I'm telling you guys, he knows how big a star Ngannou is. He knows how much money Ngannou pulls in. And he looked at the situation. He's like, oh, I can make more money without Ngannou. That's the way it is, man. That's how I feel he operates. At the end of the day, I think he's human too. Don't get me wrong. He's not all about the numbers. At least what I saw with him, he's a nice guy. He's a very sweet guy, very friendly. Always super nice with me. But he's a businessman. He's like, hey, let me weigh my options. He's not just killing fights. He didn't need GSP and Khabib. The thing is, GSP and Khabib, guys, I could tell you, I know a little bit of the ins and outs here. I don't want to talk too much because these are private conversations. But it was very difficult to put together. Everybody wants more. Everybody it wants it their way, and everybody thinks it's just really complicated to get these two human beings and the promotion to agree. It's not easy. It's not easy. There's a lot to consider. So it was complicated. Ngannou is going to make more money boxing. They don't want to match that. If they match that, it sets a precedence. With that said, guys, I hope one day MMA is the same way as boxing. Guys are making millions. $5 million fight, $20 million fight, $100 million fight. I hope that's the future, because I'd love to see. These guys are so hardworking. These MMA fighters are so hardworking. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying it's done right. All I'm saying is, Dana White, he knows what he's doing. He knows his business. He and Conor McGregor made UFC popular. They made it more popular. Okay, I don't want to get too much off topic, but look, Ronda Rousey, George St. Pierre, McGregor, Anderson Silva, like, these guys are megastars. Khabib, Khabib beating McGregor made him hugely famous, massively famous. So, I mean, there's so much to consider, but, I mean, think about, like, McGregor's probably the most famous fighter ever in MMA, ever. But he springboarded off George, Ronda, and George springboarded off Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz blew up the sport. When Tito Ortiz blew up the sport, it's nothing to what it's compared now, but we couldn't imagine it got that big. We're like, look what Tito did. But Tito springboarded off Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock springboarded off Royce Gracie. Like, it's just one guy after another. Okay, what else we got here? DC has good cardio. Tyson Fury and Ruiz. That's from Dedicated. I guess that's my comment about the gut. Guys, they'd have better cardio if they were leaner. Now, look, DC is a hardworking guy. I'm sure he eats well, but some people are more predisposed genetically to store fat. Okay, so it has a lot to do with genetics. It's not that you can't have good cardio, it's that it affects your cardio. They would have better cardio if they lowered their visceral fat. Okay, guys, are we done? Are we doing, how long have we done? I like to do at least half an hour. What are we at here? Let's see. 34 minutes. Guys, it wasn't a long fight. Okay, guys, I'm opening it up to ask me anything. It wasn't a long fight. How long was the fight? 2 minutes? Not even 2 minutes. Like, we're going to do, I can't go an hour on 2-minute fight, guys. All right, let's open it up. Absolutely anything. No holds barred questions. Go for it. Francis was offered 24 million. That's from Mixed Crypto Arts. Mixed Crypto, I heard something along 30 million. I don't know if it's true. But I would fight anybody in the world for 30 million. I would fight anybody in the world. Like, honestly, like 30 million, I would want out of my contract too, man. I don't want to do a boxing fight. 30 million is an incredible amount of money. You could change a lot of lives with 30 million, let's just say. Should John Jones come back lean? Fight Stipe Miocic. Who wins, by the way? That's from VIP. Yeah, he should come back lean. Guys, if you have a gut, you're more chance of getting injured. If you have a gut, more chance of popping your knee, more chance of hurting your back. I'm telling you, having a gut is never good. Sometimes I teach you guys jiu-jitsu when they have a gut. Like I try to teach them armbar. They can't get in the armbar position while their gut is in the way. Stuff a pillow under your shirt, get on your back and try to do an armbar. Your gut's in the way. Put like weights under your, like put a 5-pound weighted vest. Like you're going to get a little bit more tired. You're carrying extra fat. And plus, your blood is not flowing through your arteries as good when they're loaded with visceral fat. Okay, when you have fat in your organs and all that. So fat slows you down. It doesn't make you slow, but it slows you down. DC made a video about his life eating cake and fried chicken. That's from Matthew Gonzalez. Well, it could be about cake and fried chicken, but I think also he's predisposed genetically. What do you think of Shavkat? That's from Nino Minando. Very impressive guy, but he needs more finesse. He's tough, strong, good Muay Thai, knees, elbows, but he was getting hit a little more than I like. And I would like to see somebody polish him up more. Because if he's going to fight a Colby Covington, if he's going to fight a Kamaru, if he's going to fight a Leon Edwards, which is going to come sooner or later, it's going to happen, he needs to polish up. He was too hittable, in my opinion. I heard your belly gives you power. That's from Dude Stir. I don't agree. There's actually studies on that, okay? Actually, Michael Kogan's New Power program, he goes into studies on that. He takes athletes, he puts them on the strength program, they lose a little weight, their numbers go up, all positive numbers go up, strength, speed, everything, all their metrics go up. So shedding fat and increasing strength increases your relative strength, and your relative strength is by and large the most important thing in terms of your performance. So there's a lot of study on that, and it just makes total sense because fat doesn't flex. It makes no sense to say that fat helps. It doesn't help. It's just dead weight. People say, oh, once you get that weight moving, it creates momentum. Michael Kogan dispels that myth in his book. He explains how no, it doesn't, and he shows you the exact metrics. He shows rugby players that he made them lose weight. People think, oh, I'm going to bulk up. Yeah, you're bulking up. You're adding fat. That's not helping at all. Bulk up means you add muscle. That's real bulking. When you add fat, you slow yourself down. Hey, Coach, Blue Belt from 10th Planet Jacksonville here. What is your best advice for someone who is suicidal? That's from Sean McCormick. Sean, I hope you're not trolling now. It's a very serious question, not a funny topic to joke around with. Sean, I would tell you, number one thing, talk to your loved ones and seek professional help, okay? This is not the channel for me to help you with that. I'm not going to joke around here. Please don't joke around with these kind of topics. They're serious topics. People out there are suffering. Talk to your loved ones. Reach out for professional help. Do it right away. Okay, that's my best advice to you. What else we got here? All right. What's your early prediction on Jones versus Stipe? That's from Dylan. Dylan, I've answered it several times, so I'm grandfathering the question one last time. I'm picking John Jones. Even if Ngannou comes back, I'm picking John Jones. Coach, other than yourself, who is the best coach gym in Montreal? Champion, underdog, etc. God bless. That's from Denzel. Well, it's hard to say, actually. I can't really, it's hard to say. I hate to say that. I hate to leave out because they're all my friends. All these guys, they come, they train at my place and we hang out. I don't want to say one gym, and I train with a lot of different guys in my, we have big sparrings on Tuesdays and Fridays. Gyms come from all over. Mondays, TriStar's a huge gym. So we have all these professional fighters and a lot of them work with different coaches. I don't want to name one over another. How would you beat John Jones if you fought him? That's from Abdel Mbari. Look, let's say I was as big as him, and you know what? What's John Jones' weakness? I would say, look, I'd want to land body shots. He's tall, he's lanky. I'd want to land a spinning back kick. Like he does a lot of this. He does a lot of this and kind of put his fingers in your eye. When he would circle away from me, I'd throw the back kick. Like I'd want to hit him with a back kick. I'd want to be skilled enough to out wrestle him. Obviously. But in terms of striking, I'd want to kick him when he backs up. I'd want to counter punch him, And when he spins when he circles away, because he does that circling thing, and he puts his hands like this, I would back kick him right into the body, try to crush his ribs. I mean, there's just so many ways to go about it. I would try to leg lock him as well. He's got huge feet. They're super easy to leg lock. I mean, that's the downside of being a giant. Your foot is a huge lever. So I would probably like roll into the legs and leg lock. Absolutely. Replay showed that Grasso choke was not entirely under Valentina's neck. Do you think she tapped because she was getting choked, passing out, or more about a neck crank or a la Conor Khabib? That's from DNT. Look, she was getting choked. When I saw that choke, by the way, Grasso, what an inspirational win. I got to talk about that real quick, okay? DTN, I'm going to talk about your question 100%, but what a heart this girl has. What a heart. What a tiger. Now, Miesha Tate versus Holly Holm was probably the greatest female title fight comeback win I've ever seen. Miesha Tate, heart of a lioness, doing okay in round one. She had one good round, then it starts slipping away from her, and then she finally gets Holly Holm on the ground. Time is running out. She puts the choke. Holly Holm goes out, literally passes out punching. Holly Holm ready to fight to the death, literally. I never seen anybody go out punching. It's incredible. And then we have Grasso. Fight slipping away from her. Competitive fight. I don't want to make it sound like it was a blowout if you didn't see it. It was competitive. She won. Grasso won round one. Lost round two. Lost round three. Was losing. I think it was round four. Was it round four or round five? I can't remember. It was late. Valentina throws a back kick. Gets her back taken at the waist. Grasso jumps up, puts on the choke, and you're right. At first, it was on the mandible. I think it went under. I didn't get it. I'd have to relook at it, but you can choke somebody on the mandible. We call it a mandible choke. Okay, when you choke somebody across the mandible. One day I'll do a video about mandible chokes. Okay, I do them all the time. They're great. When you do a mandible choke, the person can break their jaw and also pass out. Now, if you watch Valentina, watch it. Her face turned white. And then when she released the choke, you saw the flush. Watch carefully, okay? You know when somebody's getting choked, they change color. Now, some skin tones are harder to see than others. Valentina's very fair-skinned. Very easy to see. Very easy. If somebody's darker skinned, harder to see, okay? When GSP used to fight, we used to make him tan. Why? Because he's very fair-skinned. When he gets kicked, you see a welt. On a tan skin, you don't see the welt as much. You don't see the bruise as much. That's why if you see certain fights, he has like white here. Because we make him tan really dark. No, I don't want tan. No, you have to tan. And we make him wear those glasses so he look like a bit of a raccoon. I don't want to look. No, I don't care if you look like a raccoon. We don't, because it influences the judges. The judges look at your leg. You have red marks. You got punched. There's a scratch. You know, like sometimes it's not a cut. It's just like a red. Tan skin, dark skin hides those welts better. Valentina was very fair skinned. I saw right away the choke was on because her face, the color in her face changed. So it definitely was a blood choke. Rewatch it again. You'll definitely see her face change color. Miss Super Chat, by the way, one of mine too. That's from Malhab. Malhab. Okay, John's weakness is toe stomps, Kumaro style. That's from Malhab. Name me one fight where a guy wins with a toe stomp. Name me one fight. It never knocked the guy out. I can't even remember a guy getting toe stomped and then like jumping up and down. You hurt my leg. Like I think that they should be maybe illegal. Why? Because you're just breaking each other's toes, but in the fight, because of your adrenaline, and you won't know till after your toes broken, you know. So it's just like, it's kind of like you're doing this damage, but it's like crippling. We're crippling fighters, but we're not winning fights. I don't like that. How would you advise a young athlete to take advantage of different kinds of teachers? That's from Dave L. Look, that's a very good question. When you meet somebody, you know, Confucius said something beautiful once upon a time. He said, look, learn from every man. Some men you learn what to do, and some men you learn what not to do. When you meet somebody, if they annoy you, you learn how not to annoy people. You've learned that guy, that guy did, I learned not to do that. If I'm in a practice room and somebody does something really good, I'm going to try my best to go and absorb what that person did. And you walk around with this philosophy in life. When somebody does something you dislike, you learn not to do that. When somebody does something you admire, you learn to do it. And that's how you approach your teachers. Everybody is a teacher. You can learn from everyone. You can observe people around you and learn from everyone. Okay, what else we got here? Coach, what can I do about bursitis on my knee? I'm 37, doing BJJ for 1 year. That's from Tony Gane. Tony, bursitis is such a horrible injury. Guys, if you don't know what bursitis is, it's like a bag of fluid in your knee. It's really annoying because when you drain it, they put a giant needle in your knee, they drain it, the fluid comes back. You have to keep constantly begging the doctor to drain it. Now, once upon a time, when a professional athlete gets bursitis, sometimes we ask the doctor to put an IV drip. So they puncture it, they leave a bag out, and it keeps dripping out into a bag. It's not, because when they stick a needle in, they drain it. And then when they take the needle out, that's it. Whatever we took out, we took out. We hope we got it all. No. What they can do is they can kind of put a needle in, and then it's like an IV. It just drips out. All that stuff in there is going to drip out. Now, it's not every doctor is going to sit there and do that for you. They don't care that you have bursitis. Okay, so you got to find the right doctor, or you got to get it drained over and over again. Now, when you get your bursitis drained, the problem with that is it's highly infectious. You have to be careful. Don't go work up a sweat. And if you go work out too soon, it's going to come right back. Bursitis is a very annoying injury. Okay, so I would tell you, find a good doctor, get it drained, and then lay cool. I always tell people to train across injury. Okay, guys, if you get strong and stable knees, I talk about the pain rule. I'm going to go over it real quick because the pain rule is very important. Let's say a 10 on 10 is, I don't know, stubbing your toe, like you're in horrendous pain, okay? And a 1 on 10 is, I don't know, you give me something that's not painful. I don't know, somebody flicked your ear like that. Okay, it's not painful at all, right? It's annoying, but not painful. When you're training, if you have an injury, never let it go past 7. If you're doing an exercise and it's just like it's a 6 out of 10, keep going. If it gets to a 7, stop. If you stop the exercise and the pain starts to go back down to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay, we can do another set. If the pain stays at a 6 and it's flirting with 7, or worse, stop. If the pain doesn't subside, stop. Don't keep exercising. Now, bursitis is an exception to this rule. You drain your knee, you have no pain, don't train. The fluid will come back. Guys, bursitis is one of those annoying things we can't train around. We got to really drain it and rest. It sucks, but that's the deal. Dana Hart claims to be a materialist. Have you had any philosophical discussion with him? If so, did you reach some kind of consensus? That's from Malik Balush. Guys, what's a materialist? A materialist philosopher is somebody who believes the whole world, the whole universe, all of existence is chemistry and physics. That's it. Chemistry and physics. There's nothing else. A materialist philosopher doesn't believe in soul, anything else. Now, yes, I've had conversations with John, and we've had deep conversations. And here's the thing with materialists. When we bring them counter evidence, they just throw their hands up in the air. We're like, yeah, well, I don't know what to say about that, but I'm still a materialist. That's really what the conversation ends up with. You see, when you go on the journey of logic, you're supposed to like marry logic, and like you're supposed to be like, whatever logic takes me, I'm gonna go. Because logic takes us to some bizarre places. Like if I tell you certain things that I believe are logical, you think I'm crazy. But if I show you how I got there, you'd be like, oh, that's not crazy. I'll tell you why I would say that. Because so many times I would read the works of great logicians, and I'd be like, this guy's insane. And then after I got deep in his works, I'm like, no, this guy's a genius. This guy's a genius. I thought he was crazy. When they told me what he believed, I was like, that's absurd. And then I read his works. I immerse myself in his works. I'm like, this guy's a genius. I can't think of it. I can't believe I didn't know that. Now, to answer your question, I'll give you the objection of the greatest materialist philosopher probably ever. David Hume. Okay. David Hume was probably the most brilliant atheist ever. Like, he makes Sam Harris look like Mickey Mouse. Because Sam Harris, guys, I know I rag on him a lot. But he doesn't understand determinism. I've heard him talk about determinism like he understands it to a certain degree, but he's not deep in determinism. He has a very fancy vocabulary. He's very good with words. Wow, he could put you together a word salad. See, me, I talk like a regular Joe. That's why I think you guys like my philosophy, because I've studied philosophy for over 20 years and I talk like a regular guy. I don't give you guys shop talk. You know, shop talk, it's like, shop talk is a type of fallacy we talk about. We consider when we discuss logic. Okay, shop talk is like, you know, when you go to your mechanic and you're like, you don't know anything about cars. It's like when I talk to my button pushers and they always want to explain. Like, I ask my button pushers a question, instead of explaining to me what we're gonna do, they talk to me about the back end and this and that, and this button was pushed and this guy, and I'm like, just tell me, man, just tell me, like, what's it cost and what are you gonna do? Like, they're gonna tell me the story of the project, which is fascinating but crazy time consuming. Think about when you take your car to the mechanic. The mechanic starts talking about this carburetor with this and that, and he's giving you shop talk, and you, in your mind, you think because he's giving me shop talk, he must know. He must know. He's using all these crazy words that I don't know anything. He knows everything. I know nothing. Therefore, he must be right. That's a fallacy, okay? Doesn't mean because he's giving you shop talk, he's right. Sam Harris is a smart guy, but he's also a businessman. He does a lot of shop talk. I would love to cross-examine him. I would love to have a discussion with him. I don't think he would ever do it, but whatever. Back to David Hume, materialism. I'm going to make this quick. Okay? David Hume, when faced with certain questions about idealism, he just said, look, I just have a sense. He gave us the worst answer. Guys, his work is so strong, but this one part of his work was weak. Okay, one thing they asked him is, how do you know you're not dreaming? Like, give us a logical explanation. He said, look, my dreams are less vivid than my waking state. That's how I know I'm not dreaming. Well, everybody said, look, we all said, look, that we can't accept that. It makes no sense, because my memories of last year, things I did last year, are not as distinct as now, but they happened. I don't say that they didn't exist. What does Dave Hume say to that objection? He just throws his hands up in the air. He's like, look, man, I'm a materialist philosopher. What can I tell you? I'm an empiricist. I have to touch it, see it, taste it, smell it. That's what I believe is real. Everything else is garbage. If it's not math or empirically known, cast it to the flames. So a lot of you guys might not understand what I'm talking about. So I'm going to give you Leibniz's example, real short, real sweet. It's the easiest one to understand. Leibniz, an idealist, he says, look, imagine I was really, really tiny, okay? And I could walk around in your brain. Not possible. It's just a thought experiment. And I walk around in your brain and I see blood flow, I see neurons firing, I see gray matter, I see all sorts of biology. He goes, but I'll never know by observing the chemistry and physics of your brain. I'll never know anything about your thoughts. I'll never know anything about your mind. I'll know your brain, but I'll never know the mind. Let's say, for instance, I tell you, imagine a red rose. That's just a brain state. Your brain now is shifted. Neurons are firing. They're retrieving certain memories you have, whatnot. But the brain is still a dark area. Inside your brain, there's no light. There's no red rose. It's just darkness. So imagine somebody was walking around looking for that rose that you're saying you're seeing inside your mind. If I'm telling you now, right now, I'm picturing a red rose, would you call me a liar? Well, if you were able to go in my mind right now, you'd be like, no, I don't see a red rose. You're lying. You're not imagining a red rose. You don't see a red rose. I'm telling you, no, I am seeing a red rose. That's where idealism escapes materialism. There is something to us that is beyond chemistry and physics. And that's a very important thing, okay? Because I'll tell you something. Like, guys like Adolf Hitler, they were materialist philosophers. So to them, cutting your head off, it's like me moving this glass of water from here to there. They say material. I just rearrange matter. Honestly, look, I'm not saying all materialists are Adolf Hitler, but I'm just saying if you push that belief to the maximum, what is the difference of me separating your head from your shoulders? What is the difference between, if it's all just matter, I'm just rearranging matter. I'm just rearranging it. That's it. I just rearrange matter. Adolf Hitler, in his mind, if he killed 1 million people or one person, or if he chopped down 1 million trees, or it's the same as if he went into the desert and dug up sand and threw it around and messed it all up. He just rearranged matter. There's nothing to it. All this soul talk, humanity, all this love, it's all chemicals. I'm just rearranging chemicals and stuff. I'm just rearranging stuff. It's just, even I'm not real. I don't know. There's no, like, that's the paradox they live in. But that's not the death blow to materialism. If you put me in any room with a materialist, I guarantee you, if I cross-examine him, he will find a contradiction in his belief, which basically entails that the word materialism is a metaphysical claim. They deny metaphysics, but then they make a metaphysical claim. They have a self-defeating position. It's not an easy thing to understand, but if you're a philosopher out there, you're a logician, you've understood now. Materialism is what is materialism? It's out there. It's an idea in your head. Materialism is like that red rose. It's just a thing. It's a label. It's an idea you have in your head. Well, that idea is not material. I can't put it in a test tube. So therefore, you're saying you believe in something that's an idea, but you just told me that no ideas exist. It's only chemistry and physics. Show me the chemistry and physics of materialism. There is no such thing. Okay, there's so much more to it than that, but I'm giving you guys in a nutshell. At the end of the day, they're claiming something they believe doesn't exist. It's amazing. You see what we are. You see that we are created with a purpose. We're not just a big accident. That's from Jesse. Yeah, I don't believe we're just a big accident. That would be absurd. In my opinion, that's completely absurd. And here's the thing. What I love is Thomas Nagel, an atheist. And if you ask him why he's an atheist, he's like, look, I'm an atheist. I'm never going to change. He goes, but I find it bizarre as well. He wrote a great book called Mind and Cosmos. The guy is a very respected thinker. Very respected thinker. Okay, and I'm going to pull up his biography real quick here. And I like to use atheists because the thing is, it's enemy attestation. Not enemy attestation, but somebody who doesn't agree with you, who's attesting. It's fascinating. Thomas Nagel, where does he teach again? He's a university professor in philosophy, New York University. Okay, so this guy's a heavy hitter. Thomas Nagel, brilliant guy. Look, he wrote the book. It's called Mind and Cosmos. The one thing, look, okay, let me take a step back. Okay. I'm going to go back to Leibniz, okay? Because Leibniz explains it so well, okay? Leibniz explained it so well. Leibniz was a genius. Look, imagine we're playing pool and I hit the cue ball and it hits the 8 ball and the 8 ball goes in the pocket. Leibniz says that white ball, that cue ball, when it hit the 8 ball and the 8 ball started rolling, he goes, that's the life force. Guys, forget Star Trek. Leibniz was before not Star Wars. Forget that. That comes from Leibniz. Somebody read Leibniz and said, let me make a movie with the force. Okay, let me explain the force now. It's not sci-fi. It's real. Okay, let me explain. I know I sound like a madman. I understand. Why does he call it the life force? It's not alive. The ball's not alive. The cue ball's not alive. The 8 ball's not alive. I can roll a bowling ball, hit a bunch of pins. They're not alive. What he's saying is, he's a determinist. He's saying, look, the same forces that move those balls around, the cue ball, hit the 8 ball, the bowling ball that hit the pins, the same life force, the same force, are the same things that are moving me right now. It's the same exact laws of physics. Okay, don't forget, Leibniz was a genius. Okay, he invented calculus. Now, there's a big controversy of who invented calculus, him or Isaac Newton. I'm not going to get into it. It's a long story. It could very well be they both at one time invented calculus independently. I'm not going to get into it because it's a very long story. But the man understood determinism. He says, look, the same thing that moves that cue ball moves your hand. Do you see how my hand is moving around time and space? Something happened billions and billions of years ago that's moving my arm right now. It's just a chain reaction. We've talked about this in the past. I'm not going to get too deep on it. But he's saying that same thing moved your hand to hit that to push that pool stick, to push that cue ball, that push that 8 ball, that make it fall in the hole. That life force is going all the way back. I could tell you what's going to happen in 100 million years from now if I had all the information on hand. If I had a divine calculator and I had all the moving parts, I can calculate and I can tell you where your hand's going to be in a year from now. Guys, nobody in physics disagrees on this. Nobody. Find me a guy. Find me a PhD in physics that disagrees. You won't find one. You won't find one. I mentioned this on the Rogan show. So he called it the life force. Pretty cool name, but now because, Star Wars, it sounds dumb, but he originally coined that term, the life force, okay? Now think about this. If it is an accident, and Thomas Nagel talks about this in his book, Mind and Cosmos. I've been talking about this for years. I was so happy to see an atheist finally, thank God, an atheist finally said it. He wrote it in his book. He said, look, isn't this peculiar? Ghazali wrote it 1,000 years ago. Isn't this peculiar? Now we have modern day atheists that are hardcore atheists that say, look, I'll never believe in a God no matter what, but this is really peculiar. He also, I don't want to get into his other views, but he has radical views that really flip atheists out. But he's like, look, this doesn't make sense, guys. This really doesn't make sense. Now, here's the part that doesn't make sense. That he didn't get just right in his book, but he got close enough. I applaud him. If it's all blind forces, imagine everything that's moved us, everything that moved me in the past. Whatever's making me move my arm right now, they call it blind forces. You know what blind forces means? It's moving, but in no particular direction. It's just a crumbling hill. That force, that blind force you supposedly say is blind, is moving every body part of mine. Every action I do has to do with that blind force. Every chemical I have in my mind was created by that blind force. Every chemical in my mind is working actively, but blindly. According to them, according to atheists. But here's the thing. How come everything I'm saying to you right now is logical and ordered? How come I have a working, logical mind? Thomas Nagel asked this in his book. He says, wait a second. If that's true and it's just blind forces, if survival reproduction is the only thing, why do I have deep thoughts about like the universe, existence, and all that? What the hell does that have to do with survival reproduction? Why can I picture a life? This is a Ghazalian point. Guys, look, there were great thinkers, the Muslims, the Greeks, the Enlightenment period, the Europeans, I'm sure the Asians as well. And people always get upset with me, I leave the Asians out. I'm just not an expert in that, okay? I'm sure, listen, there are great thinkers in every region of the world at all different times. Unfortunately, I haven't studied all those. That's why I always refer to the same three, guys. Forgive me. I'm not trying to leave the Japanese out. I'm not trying to leave the Hindus out. I'm sure they had their great thinkers, and I would love to study them, but there's only 24 hours in a day, okay? He's telling us, look, if it's all blind forces and they're moving every body part, they're giving me every thought. Your thoughts happen to you. You don't have thoughts. If you think you have thoughts, you don't understand physics, you don't understand determinism, you don't understand Isaac Newton, you don't understand Pierre-Simon Laplace, you don't understand Thomas Nagel, you just don't get it. That's what Sam Harris doesn't get. See, one time he said, oh, determinism is true, but you still have random events. No, that's the whole point. There are no random events. Determinism is telling us there are no random events. It's all determined. There are no random events. Random events are a projection of the mind. Read basic Kant. You say you're a philosopher. You say you have a bachelor's in philosophy. How do you not know Kant? I would love to be in a room with him. I would love to have him to answer me these questions. Guys, these are not opinions. These are thoroughly studied ideas. We have a consensus in philosophy. The world is determined. Of course, quantum physics is throwing everything for a loop, but that's another story for another day. There are interesting things there, but that's a story for another day. Too complicated for today. The world is determined. How come I'm having thoughts? How come I'm having organized thoughts? Why aren't my thoughts blind? You see, here's the thing. When you push philosophy to the edge, we find out that it's all mind. That's why he called the book Mind and Cosmos. I was an atheist all these years. Now I'm realizing It's all mind. There's mind and cosmos. When I saw the cover of the book, I was like, oh, finally. Just the title of the book. Before I read the book, I have it on audio. It's great. Okay, it's actually really good. He's actually didn't go far enough. He's gotten far. He ain't gone far enough. I would love to have a conversation with Thomas Nagel. I'll absolutely love it if anybody could put that together. But here's the thing. He didn't go far enough. He thinks it doesn't make sense that these blind forces are behind us, pushing our every thought, our every action, but our actions are organized and precise. And we're having a discussion. That would mean that the universe is blind and dead, and having it spontaneously came to life and now is having a conversation with itself. Me and you are just atoms in the void bouncing around, but we're having this pristine dialogue that fits like a glove. Yet it fits like a glove, but it's a byproduct of blind forces. That would be an impossibility. It doesn't matter how many multiverses you have, it would be an impossibility. The fact that I'm having the experience of rational thinking, he asks himself, it doesn't make any sense. Here's the thing, okay? Like, I don't want to get, like, you think about this, okay? This is a very important thought, okay? I don't want to get too deep here, but think about every single desire you have. Every single desire, human desire. You're born, okay? When you're born, you come into this world, you have a desire to eat. Well, guess what? There's a breast waiting for you right there. Boom, food. You have a desire for heat. Well, guess what? We're 37 degrees Celsius and I have perfect arms to warm you up, exactly the temperature you need. And now everything fits like a glove. Oh, it must be a giant fluke. Okay. It turns out that every single human desire you have has a fulfillment. There's not one human desire. You've never desired something that you can't have. But also human beings desire to live forever. We're the only creature, think about this, that we can picture our lives being better. Look, gorillas don't go around saying, hey, I picture a really great utopia. No, they don't do that. They just live day to day. They can't think at that level, right? And they don't dream. They don't think about death, and they don't dream to live forever. Human beings have that thirst. You could see human beings. Look at their behavior. Human beings have a deep, deep, deep desire to live forever. But atheists, having never died, assume that death is the end. That's it. It's done. Materialism, oh, it's the end. What about nothing. No, it's absolutely impossible. But you never died before. You have no data. You've never been to the other side. We have no data whatsoever. It's like they have this personality. It comes with baggage. They should at least say, I'm agnostic. I don't know what happens when you die. Now here's the thing. Philosophers will tell you, look, this is a great Socratic argument, but many thinkers did this argument. Okay, I'll give you the short. If I say, look, Joe, you grew taller, that means you used to be shorter. If I say you got heavier, that means you used to be lighter. If I say you're stronger, that means you used to be weaker. If I say you fell asleep, that means you were awake. You can't fall asleep if you're asleep. If you're asleep, you can't fall asleep. You're already asleep. You can go deeper degrees of sleep. You can go into deeper degrees of sleep, but you're still asleep. If you were born, you had to be what before? I can't tell you I was born today. I was alive. Born, you came to life. Okay, when you come to life, you have to have once upon a time not been alive. Call it dead, call it whatever you want. You were not alive and now you came to life. So when you die, what's the next? You're dead again. You've been in this state of non-existence. That's what Socrates says. He says, look, it's a cycle of life and death. Death comes from life and life goes into death. You can't die if you're already dead, obviously, and you cannot come to life if you're alive. You have to have its opposites. And then he goes into a whole spiel about how opposites can't receive one another. Interesting stuff. Even though I think it's possibly he's wrong. Possibly he's right. But it's interesting because you look at your life and you're like, look, I came to life once. Okay? I came to life once. Look, there's no... it's what scientists call the anthropic principle. Whatever philosophy, whatever idea we land on, it has to prove that life exists because, look, life is self-evident. There's no need for logic or science. Life is self-evident. We know we're alive. We don't need a scientific experiment. We don't need a controlled double-blind study. And we don't need no logicians to come and give us some fancy syllogisms to convince us. We know it. We believe it. We're convinced. You couldn't convince us otherwise. That's what they call the anthropic principle. Anthropic principle. So look, you came to life once. What do you think is going to happen when you die? Oh, because this schmo who wrote a book, who's been alive only for a small amount of time, who actually never studied philosophy, he's so convinced. So what? He's convinced. I lived it, man. I went from non-living to life. I went from not existing to existing. That to me is far more proof than some guy who's trying to sell books because atheism is on the rise. He's going to write a book about how, hey, it's weird because the West has a distaste for religion because they came out of religion and when they dropped their religion, they became scientifically successful. That's how they play. It's actually not that true. Okay, I don't want to blame Christianity for the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages weren't that dark, and it's not true that Christianity was always anti-science. It's not true. There was a mixed bag. Christianity is massive. There was a lot of various thinkers. Some thought it was good. Some thought it wasn't good. And the West came out of it. When they dropped religion, they became more scientific. That's how they teach you it in university. If you go to university, I went to university when studying Enlightenment period, they're like, hey, let's drop religion. Let's go back to the Aristotelian ways of learning. It's funny because my son now is learning it in school. He's in high school. And I was helping him with his homework. And that's exactly what they say. What's the Enlightenment period? Now, I happen to be a philosopher. I know what the Enlightenment period is. And I look at the notes. The answers they wanted, they tell you the answer, is that we left religious thinking and we went back to Aristotelian thinking, Greek thinking, Roman thinking. It's actually not that accurate. But I don't want to get into it because there are scholars that do believe that. It's a mixed bag, but they're teaching it to the kids today. Hey, once they left Christianity, they became brilliant. It's not true. It's not true. There were many brilliant Christian thinkers. Many. Okay, scientists, an incredible amount of Muslim scientists, incredible amount of, they wouldn't call themselves scientists. They were, back in the day, guys, in medieval times, science and philosophy was not separate. If you're a philosopher, you're a scientist. If you're a scientist, you're a doctor. It was all jumbled up into one, okay? Philosophy and science is a different term that came later on that specifically means the natural method. But splitting hairs, they were the equivalent of scientists. They were Christian, they were agnostic, they were Jews, they were Muslims, they were every walk of life. Okay, so anyways, it's just complicated, very complicated topic. But at the end of the day, in the Western world, they just beat you over the head with it. Oh yeah, it's just it's a cultural thing. It's become a serious cultural thing. Denzel says, Coach, you have talked about being bullied in your youth. Was it a racially motivated? Also, GSP bumped into his old bullies. Have you? God bless. That's from Denzel. When I was young, it was racially motivated. Okay, look. When I was young and I was a kid, there was the referendum. The Quebecois here, which I love the Quebecois. Okay, I married a Quebecois. My children are Quebecois. Okay, don't forget. I'll never say a bad word. They're my family. My wife's side of the family, I have a large part of my family nonetheless is still Quebecois. But there was a lot of separatists. Separatists didn't want immigrants in the country. They didn't want guys like me. And I will tell you, when I would ride my bike, I was a young kid. I didn't know any of these things. The French kids would heckle me. They would tell me off. They would curse me. They wouldn't want to play with me. And their parents of those kids were there. So I was like, that's weird. Like usually parents will break up something like that. If I was bullying a kid in front of my parents would, tell me to cut it out. They would make me apologize. Like my parents would never allow that. And it was in my neighborhood. Every time I would ride my bike, they would always curse me, get out of here, go back home. Like I didn't understand the politics. And I remember when I met my wife, we're in the heart of Quebec, and I went to the counter to get served, and the girl wouldn't serve me. Like it was like, guys, this would never happen today. We've gone a long way since then. But I remember once upon a time, even in my young adulthood, it was still there. Now it's like dead in the water. Nobody thinks like that anymore. Quebec has gone way forward. Quebec doesn't do that. There's glimpses of it here and there, maybe, but it's really, really, really dead in the water. Like really, really dead. People now are much more accepting, and maybe the government, something that the government said, the PM of Quebec said something completely, I think, wrong. He said, look, we can't put all cultures on the same level. The Quebec culture, we're in Quebec. Quebec culture is basically number one. I totally disagree. I think that's insulting, actually. Because when we immigrated to this country, we were told, look, follow these laws. You could practice your religion. You can have your way of life, but keep that at home. Come to work, pay your taxes. and be a tax-paying member. That's what we want from you. We want you guys to work, pay taxes. Okay, we have the right to education, yes. Right to our religion, yes. Right to our way of life, yes. We can become politicians. Oh, yes, no problem, guys. Everybody's equal. Come on in. Equal opportunity. Okay, great. So we get here by the truckload, and now they're telling us, no. You guys can't behave the way you do. You can't have your way of life. You gotta have our way of life. But here's the thing. Immigrants like us, we have a lot of kids. We still have that traditional family, survive and reproduce, family's everything. They don't. They're more like, you have your girlfriend, you might have one kid, you don't have a kid, you don't marry her, you're with her 20 years, she's not your wife, she's just your girlfriend. We don't believe in marriage. They're very disconnected with nuclear family. They're not worried about that. It's just they have a different approach, and that's fine. That's their business. That's their way of life. But we're growing in number, and we're immigrating, and we're growing in number. And now they're like, hey, wait a second, you got to speak our language. Well, we don't really speak that language so much. It's evolving, and now people are more English, and schools are very multicultural. They speak all sorts of languages, and no, they're trying to put the brakes on that. Like, for instance, by law now, I'm supposed to talk to my employees in French. By law now, they're supposed to be able to check on me to see if I'm communicating with my emails or text messages. Like, am I doing it in French? Like, they're passing laws now that everything has to be French. I find that crazy a little bit because we're a democratic country. We should decide together what's the language of the country. Imagine tomorrow, I don't know, Canada immigrates millions and millions of Chinese, and the Chinese are a vital part of our community. And then they say, hey, you know what? Via democratic means, they decide, hey, we should make Chinese the official language. And we look around and they're Canadian Chinese. They're just as Canadian as everybody else. And they're the majority. And they say they want to make it Chinese. Well, we say, well, we're French, so we got to be... No. Why? That was yesterday. Today, we're Chinese. Once upon a time, it wasn't French. The French came in here by the truckload and changed the language. Before, the Aboriginals were speaking another language. And guess what? You guys came here by the truckload. And you established a state. And now you changed your language. We're going to do the same thing. But they would have done it via democratic means. That's what's happening today. We're changing the landscape. And people are saying, no. We don't want that. Why? It's their own personal agenda. This is a democratic country. You have to go by democratic means. Guys, at least that's how I understand it. I might be getting it wrong, but from what I understood, it's the majority rule. Yet now they're like, hey, wait a second. We're slowly becoming the minority. We're going to make it law now that our way of life, our way of life is law. Wait a second, what? Anyways, I think over time, as people blend, these things will change. But it's kind of like the government is kind of like trying to put us in a chokehold a little bit. They're trying to slow down our way of life, which is like, hey, that's why we came here, because you told us we can't practice this way of life. So to answer your story, yes, I was bullied as a child. However, no, I never saw my bullies again in the future. Firas versus Sam Harris. Man, who's that? Topher? Set it up. I would love to have him chat with him. Arnold Allen versus Max Holloway prediction. That's from Daniel. Daniel, I don't do predictions for fighters I work with, so I'm going to have to skip that one. Coach, I never seen more super chats than here. That's from JF. No, today's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of super chat, but we get super chats all the time, every show. Pretty much every show. Did I miss any? Why did Denahar teach you for free? That's from Malik. That's a good question. We were super close. Oh, we are super close, man. John is like a big brother to me. Like, we're so close, man. It's ridiculous. Like, I've offered him money. He never takes it from me. Me and George, I think we, having the run we did, we brought a lot of prestige to the school, so they kind of waived the fee. When I go to Hensel Graces, I try to pay. They don't let me pay. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm walking in there. I'm like, hey, let me. No. It's the complete opposite. We go in there. We're happy to pay. And then what I started doing is they wouldn't take my money. I would start to buy drinks and shirts. I buy like 5, 10 shirts, and I want to give them money. Then they were like, no, give them then it became give them the shirts for free. So I wouldn't even take the shirts no more. Like every time I go to Hensel Gracie's, I'd buy shirts and bring them back to my family because I want them to feel appreciated. Then it'd be like, if I took a shirt, they'd be like, did you want to give it to me for free? And I was like, oh my God, like it's backfiring on me now. So I stopped doing that. But they always treated us like family. We were close. John and George and me were super close till this day. So even for me, like when the Danaher Death Squad broke up, I was really upset. Like not upset because, it was. I love watching the Danaher Death Squad, but I was upset about the loyalty. John is the type of instructor, he puts everything in his students. I found it completely, I didn't like it. They should have worked in a way together. They should have found a way to work together. And I don't want to get into the details, but me personally, I really found it, I didn't like it. I thought they should have stayed behind John. They should have supported John more. They should have found a way to coexist. They should have gone, because if they stayed together, they would be the number one team in the world, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But it's not only that. It was more about the respect. Respect. I really have a high respect for John because he puts so much time and energy in his students. It's crazy. Level Up 50 off, guys. The promo code on the bottom of your screen. Use it for anything. 50% off on Juji Club. Absolutely anything. Salam, I bought your strong and stable shoulders and I loved it, but I'm curious why you didn't include any serratus anterior exercises. That's from Hassan. Hassan, here's the thing. There are so many good exercises. I could have made the video 5 hours long, but here's the thing. You don't need an infinite amount of exercises. So what I do is I make a list of exercises and I put them in priority. What is the best? Guys, in my opinion, the best is work with a sledgehammer. Okay, work with a sledgehammer. You can train every muscle in your shoulder with a sledgehammer. Guys, don't forget about the human shoulder, Which animal on earth, which creature on earth is the best at throwing? Who can tell me? It's the human being. If you guys didn't know, it's the human being. Yes, a gorilla is 100 times stronger than you. Okay, not literally 100, but let's say 5 times stronger than you. But he can't throw. He doesn't have the mobility in his shoulder. The shoulder is made to throw. That's why when I use the hammer, I swing almost like I'm throwing. Like I work exercise, I show you, and then I swing it like I'm throwing. Guys, that's the shoulder, the human shoulder. And one exercise I left out, which I might reshoot to add in, is when we do sledgehammer work on the tire. But I thought to myself, most people don't have a tire. Okay, so I just swing it in the air. But a great exercise for shoulder is if you have a giant tire, which most people don't. That's why I left it out. You do ballistic hammer exercise hitting the tire. Your shoulder is made to throw. There's no creature on the face of the earth that could throw further than a human being. That's why human beings survive, because they can throw spears, rocks, slingshots. Throwing. Your shoulder was made to throw. If you don't throw, you'll never develop world-class shoulders. Okay, throwing is one very important aspect. It's not the only. There was too many exercises, but I believe that sledgehammer training does it all. Ultimately speaking, it covers most. So I cover every single possible motion. However, I had to make it efficient. I couldn't put every exercise under the sun. What else we got here? Lots of super chats coming in. Okay, guys, we're going to be winding down. What time is it? 11 o'clock. What is the best way for a white belt to develop good defense? What practitioners should I watch? That's from CM Brewer. CM, I'll tell you something. I don't think defense is the best way. I think guard retention is the best. Because people are like, okay, I get caught side control. I get my back taken. I get my mounted. Because they pass your guard. That's why it's called guard. Guard protects you from all that. If you get good at side control escape and back escape, you're still getting your guard pass. You're still losing all the time. You're just losing. Like some of these guys, they spend so much time learning defense. You roll with them. You score 20 points on them. You didn't tap him, but man, he lost. Focus on guard retention. Have an impassable guard. Focus on guard retention. Have guard retention made easy. I think that's the best video out there. It's made easy. Okay. It's the heart of guard retention. Then later, after you have good guard retention, learn back escapes. Guys, I'm a big believer in back escapes because back escape happens. It's even though I might have a very good guard, it's going to get passed sooner or later and I'm going to find myself in trouble. but you'll win a lot more matches having an incredible guard. I hate when I have a guy I can't pass his guard. I can't stand it because I can't do much if I can't pass his guard. Some guys have such hard guards to pass. It's crazy. They're flexible. They know what they're doing. They're technical. And flexibility really matters in guard. Very much so. Mobility, flexibility. It's really impressive. Like a BJ Penn type flexibility. Super hard guard passes to if you can't pass his guard, man, you better be able to leg lock him. Because if you can't pass him and leg lock him, you can't do anything to him. John had a toe issue before. Maybe that's his Achilles heel. If someone utilizes toe stomps and wins, the expression becomes John Jones toe. That's on Mahab. Oh, that's what you meant with toe stomps. Okay. What was the story about him taping his foot? Some people were saying he's going to get in trouble. I saw like a headline. I didn't read it, but I don't think if you toe stomp John, you're going to win. Honestly, it would shock me. It could be as weak toes. It could be, but I doubt it. Coach, have you talked about... Oh, yes, I did that one. Why do you think scientism is so prevalent? That's from Nabil. That's a great question. I'll tell you one word. Pragmatism. Let me tell you a little secret, Nabil. Very few people actually care about truth. Very few people. People only start caring about truth once they get really old. Then they start asking deep questions. Everybody wants to know, how do I put food in my belly? How do I get more money in my bank account? How do I get more women in my bed? How do I have more friends? How do I have more followers on Instagram? How do I... That's what people care about. People are quite superficial. Now, those things are important to a certain degree. But if we remember Abraham Maslow's pyramid of needs, he says, look, at first you need your most primitive needs, okay, which is food, water, shelter, heat. Then after that, you need security. You need to feel like, hey, I'm not going to get mauled. My neighbor's not going to try to kill me. Like I have a wall between me and him, or I'm surrounded by friends and I make allies. You need security. After you need security, you need this like social accolades. You need to like be accepted in a community. You want to be part of a community. You want to know Tom down the block. Yeah, this guy, he's my friend. I play cards with him. Okay, this person, he helps me when I need to shovel the snow. Whatever. You have a community. You have a sense of, you interact with people and you have the sense that you belong. And then after that, it's prestige. People want to leave their mark. People want to leave. They want to be remembered. They want to do something really, really wow, great. And then Abraham Maslow says, look, on the top of the pyramid is self-actualization. Self-actualization is, I was the best martial artist I could be. I was the best businessman I could be. I was the best fill in the blank student I could be. I was the best, most like you exploited every potential you have. Then he rewrote his works and he put self-transcendence. Because he realized fulfilling all your potential wasn't enough. You're still dead in the dirt. What's the meaning to life? You had to go beyond. You have to, at the end, the top of the pyramid, self-transcendence, you basically have to discover God. But most people are at the lower part of the pyramid. They don't think that far. Why? Because they only think that far once they have, doctor tells me he has cancer. All of a sudden now he wants to think deeply about it. What's this all mean? What is all? Well, then he starts having these philosophical deep thoughts. He starts thinking about all. So his mind jumps into warp speed and another world of thoughts. It's better to do that when you're young. It's better to do that, to develop to a certain extent. And you won't go look back and say, I wish I never did it. No, it's never the case. It's never the case that somebody has self-reflection, thinks about these deep questions. That's why I like to answer philosophical questions. I like to throw it out there. I think it's good for people to think. Scientism works and it's popular because it puts food in our bellies. It sells books. People want to know, how do I put my enemies in the dirt and a woman in my bed and food in my belly? That's what they care about. They're still on the lower end of the scale, most people. So the scientists are like, hey, what do you want to know? Oh, you want to know this? Okay, boom. They get all this support. They get all this accolades. They get all these, I remember once Lawrence Krauss was saying, how come in the philosophy department they never win the Nobel Prize? Yeah, because nobody cares what we do. Nobody cares. If you discover something that is true and it's a gem, then you go try to explain it to a regular Joe. They don't understand. They don't even care. How does that make money? How does that allow us to go into another country and plunder their resources and make them beg that we let them live? That's what people really want. Okay? People want a $5 burger with an extra large fry and a supersized Coke, and they want it for cheap. Science brings you that. Philosophy will give you something different. It'll talk to you about the soul, the mind. Things that are priceless. But the vast majority of people don't know that it's worth. They don't know it's worth. So they live in a type of poverty unknowingly. Nul. What was that? Hold on, it skipped. Damn it, I hate that. When I start reading something and new chats come in and I lose it. Hold on, somebody quoted something. I think it was a quote. Missed it. Do you use shisha or nicotine products when you roll? That's some. Oh, really? No, I don't use shisha or nicotine products when I roll. I do smoke shisha once in a while for fun, like a hubbly bubbly. You know, like I don't know what you guys call it, but what do you guys call it? I think you guys call it hubbly bubbly in English. Guys, if you ask me a question I already answered, I'm just going to ignore it, okay? Because I answered some of these questions already. Who wins, Merab or Jan? I got to go over their fight footage. I'm not sure, but that's going to be a tricky one. But off the bat, without going over their footage, I would say Jan. But that's... I know he got taken down. I know... I think he's going to regroup. I think that was just a bad fight. I think he's going to regroup and he's going to do it. But I have to go through their footage. Coach, have you considered starting a philosophy podcast as some throwaway account? Yes, I have, but I'm doing so many things right now. Right now, I just finished writing a book. Okay, I just finished writing a book. It's going to be out for publication. I don't even want to say the title of the book. I just don't want to. It's going to come out soon. I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks. I wrote it, guys. I wrote it. It's done. Now I have Noor. Noor is just doing the final touches. Like he's putting up like how it's going to look and all that. I put the pictures. Guys, type in the comment section, Noor, get it done. Get it done. Put Noor, Noor. Guys, let him know you want it done. You want it done ASAP. Make him work overtime. Get it on. Get him on it. I'm hoping to release it in the next 2 weeks. But I didn't release it yet because he wants to make the fonts nicer. He wants to measure. I did it, guys. I wrote the whole thing. It's done. I'll give you guys the title, but don't ask me when it's coming out. It's coming out in the next 2 weeks, and it's all in Noor's hands. I finished it. I've polished it up. It's done. It's called Fasting for Fitness. It's an amazing book. It's going to help you guys get in the best shape of your life. It's time to get it now. Summer's around the corner. The guys who want to get in the best shape of their life, get strong and stable running, get strong and stable knees, get Fasting for Fitness. It's an incredible book. I teach you how to use intermittent fasting for athletics. I don't think there's another book like that in the world because I was looking for one and I couldn't find it. I experimented. I found all sorts of ways to do it and I detail it in the book very, very precisely. I'm actually really, really happy with how it came out. Very, very happy. And now it's in Noor's hands. Guys, Noor, November, Oscar, Romeo. Leave him comments. He's going to read those comments. It's going to light a fire underneath him. The book is ready. I'm just waiting on him. What else we got here? 40-day water fast? No, I don't do water fast. You missed my super chat from Watermelon. Super chat from a man named Watermelon. Or I'm assuming it's a man. Coach, what do you think about people who want to be good at fighting but don't want to compete? That's from Jordan Shakur. Nothing wrong with that, man. Do martial arts as a hobby. I do it. Look, I don't compete. Even if I didn't coach professional fighters, I would still do martial arts every day. It's amazing for your health. It's amazing for your mind. Stress relief. Guys, I went to the doctor. They did a whole test on me and all that. They're like, oh, you're perfectly healthy. You're healthy as a horse. They did all sorts. Thank God. I was super happy. Anybody can get a disease, but martial arts keeps me healthy. I'm telling you, if I wasn't doing martial arts, I don't think I could do a weight routine and a running routine without martial arts. Like I do my weights and my martial arts together. I do my martial arts training. That passes really fast. And then I do a quick circuit or I do a quick run or I do a quick something conditioning. but it's 5 to 20 minutes max. I take the pain, short and sweet. It's done. It keeps me super, like, it's so important because a lot of the calories I burn is through kickboxing, wrestling. That I could do for hours. You know, you put on something good to listen to, you hit the bag. It's the best way to get in shape. You wrestling, like you're too occupied to count calories. Like, it's the best way to stay flexible, strong, in shape. I highly recommend, and it's very good for the mind. Very, very good in every domain. I missed a super chat, guys. Forgive me. I can't seem to find it. Is Alex Pereira the best striker in the world? That's from Jacob. In my opinion, yes. Pound for pound, he's the best striker in the world as of now. That could quickly change. Hey, coach. Alex Pereira has issues with Izzy's takedowns. Do you think middleweight GSP would have easily taken him down? Oh, that's from Ray Ray. Ray Ray Rodriguez, my man. A black belt member. Shiny black belt. Very good. Ray Ray Rodriguez, my man. Yeah, I think George would take him down easy, guys. Listen, if George was active today, I would tell him, go fight Pereira. He would take him down, maul him, put him away, man. Guys, George would put him away. I guarantee you. And the thing is, there's a lot of guys who could do it right now. Okay, so they're going to give him his rematch with Izzy. If he beats Izzy, if they throw a good wrestler at him, it could be a problem. But he has time. Now he has time. He should be working on takedown defense because if he gets past Izzy, he's got to have that takedown defense ready. How does one get the Zahabibis like Mr. Zahabi? That's from Watermelon. You put me through all that search for that? I don't know what that means. How do you get the Zahabibis? Watermelon, you're a Habibi. Is that it? You want me to call you Habibi? Shubhan Chopra, you're a scholar and a gentleman. Thank you very much. I feel like a stripper. He gave me $1. What a fine gesture. Middleweight GSP was the best fighter in the world. That's from Fezzi. Well, he was world champion. That makes him best fighter in the world, a middleweight. What do you think about Felipe Pena's recent fight? That's from Abrar. Look, I thought it should have been a draw. Personally, I think that's a draw. I don't know what you guys think, but it was 50-50. I mean, I don't know. Oh, excuse me, guys. Forgive me. Coach, as a non-reader, what is your first read? That's from Shubhan. I would recommend a soft landing, Euthyphro by Plato. Euthyphro. Coach, what do you think of Alan Watts' philosophy? That's from Konman. Very interesting guy. A little bit all over the place, but a very interesting guy. I don't agree with everything, but there's some things I very much do agree with him. Are you familiar with Dark Water Hermit on YouTube? Delving into depths of philosophy. This channel is sure to pick your intellectual curiosity. That's from Dark Water Hermit. Let me look him up. Let's look up this fine gentleman, Mr. Dark Water Hermit. Let's look him up. Let's see if he's such a fine thinker as you say. Dark Water Hermit. I can't say I'm too impressed with his name. Dark Water Hermit. Let's see what Mr. Dark Water Hermit has to say. All right, let's cross-examine Mr. Dark Water Hermit. 3,000 subscribers. Could this be him? They call him Dark Water Hermit. All right, Mr. Dark Water. Let's see what you have to say. Theological arguments. Putting faith in its place. All right, let's play this video. Why not?
Imagine you enter a strange room where a computer tells you that hidden somewhere in the building is a cube. Then it asks you, what does the cube contain? Most of us would recognize this to be a futile question. The cube could be large or small. It could be a solid block or a vacuum chamber of nothing but sparse particles of gas. Or it might contain any one of billions of permutations of familiar or novel objects. You could never give a precise, justifiable answer. But if you were asked what does the cube not contain, you could give many answers. For example, the cube couldn't possibly contain the Amazon River, the planet Mars, or absurd objects such as a bed made of sleep. In fact, there'd be more perfectly valid answers to this second question than you could list in a million lifetimes. This illustrates an interesting asymmetry concerning the contents of this cube. Despite there being countless possibilities and impossibilities, without evidence from the cube itself, we can only ever make valid justifiable statements about what is not inside the cube, not what is. It's true that someone claiming, for example, that the cube contained nothing but a wooden spoon might be right, but since without evidence they could provide no valid justification for such a claim, there'd be literally no reason for anyone to accept it. What if we were talking about a realm of existence independent of our universe that, like the concealed cube, was physically inaccessible to us? Would things be different? Would we be able to deduce precisely what occupied such a realm, such as a divine being? No, there's the same asymmetry as before. Countless kinds of being might exist independently of our universe. Countless logically impossible beings cannot. But while we can list many kinds of being that can't exist there because they violate logic, we can't list those, if any, that do. Any attempt to argue that a specific divine being exists in an inaccessible realm of reality is an attempt to argue for either the impossible or the unknowable. Logic alone can refute impossible beings, but it can't show that possible beings actually exist without evidence. If you can't at some point provide measurable, verifiable evidence for the specific being you claim exists, all the argument in the world won't establish your claim as fact. This is one reason why, as soon as anyone claims they have a logical argument that requires the existence of one personal creator of our universe, we know it'll be fallacious because they failed at a basic level to understand what's required to establish such an existence claim. It's just a question of identifying where the errors are. For example, the theologian William Lane Craig has asserted that our universe had an original cause, which, because it created our time and space, had to transcend time and space. Transcending our time and space doesn't necessarily mean something transcends all time and space. However, his conclusion that this non-temporal, non-spatial cause would have to be a changeless, disembodied mind is more seriously flawed. A changeless mind is by definition non-functioning. Minds and purposeful creation depend on change. Craig's changeless creator is self-contradicting and belongs to the category of the logically impossible.
Okay, guys, interesting stuff. I can't say I haven't heard all this before. I'm going to give you guys a quick rendition of what he said. I didn't go full in the video because I don't know if you guys are hearing it. He's saying, look, imagine there was this box, okay? And if I asked you, what's inside this box, without you being allowed to look at it, you couldn't tell me. There could be an infinite amount of things in the box. He says, look, there could be just a wooden spoon in the box. There could be a marble in the box. There could be anything. You don't have access to inside that box. So how could you possibly know it's there? But you can guess things that are not in the box. Now, let's say I tell you, look, the planet Mars is not in the box because Mars is bigger than the box. It couldn't fit. Logically, we know Mars is not in the box. However, you cannot tell me what's in the box. Now, he went into other things, and I'd have to re-listen to it carefully, but he's basically saying, look, how do you know there's a God somewhere in another in the universe? How do you know there's angels? How do you know? You can't tell me that. That's like the box. You don't have access to the box. Okay. He gets something really wrong. Okay. He's making one massive presupposition. This is really deep stuff. Okay. I'm gonna have to invoke on Schopenhauer. I'm gonna say something really profound now. Okay, which I it's gonna be hard to explain, but I'm gonna give it a try. Schopenhauer said this. Look. He said, look. We cannot understand ourselves by studying the universe. We have to understand the universe by studying ourselves. This is where this gentleman here, the hermit guy, gets it wrong. He's a materialist philosopher. He's bought and sold that the way we perceive reality is really reality. Okay, I'm going to say that again. He believes that the way we perceive reality is the way reality truly is. Okay. Now let's do a thought experiment. He was doing a thought experiment. I'm going to give him one, okay? Imagine I took your brain and another person's brain and I stuck them together. Okay? Imagine I connected them together just for fun, okay? Let's just do a fun experiment. Now all of a sudden your two personalities were kind of gelled together and you kind of like become this one person, and you have like a human being has different sides to their mind. You kind of be a complex unity. You be this complex thinking thing. Like I have a side of me that's grumpy. I have a side of me that's joyful. I have a side of me that's funny. I have a side of me that's serious. I have all these different sides. That guy would be just a jumble of two minds blending together. Let's fast forward this thought experiment. What if we stuck everybody's brains together? The whole world was one connected brain. Well, we wouldn't see the difference between you're out there and I'm here, you're this person, I'm that. We'd all become like one mind. We'd all think we're one person. You guys follow what I'm saying? By changing certain elements, I can change your entire reality. I can change the entire way you outlook your outlook of life. Okay, your outlook. What he doesn't understand, why because he's taking a knock at religion. It's like, why do they believe in God? It's not because I saw something in the universe. It's internal. It's intuition. The whole world. Remember how we talk about when you put two minds together, the minds will gel and become one mind. What if we took the whole universe and gelled it together? What if we took the whole universe and put it into one space? There wouldn't be a me and you. There would just be this one unity. There would just be one conscious unity. Now, the reason why you explore the world, this is Schopenhauer. The reason why you see the world in so many multiplicity and all that is because we're fragmented. You have there's one brain here, one brain there. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. It's contingent. The universe could have been otherwise. So what Schopenhauer is telling you, look, that's all going to change over time. Things are going to separate further. Things are going to combine further. That's not how really reality is. What is reality? That's why he says you have to learn about the universe through yourself. Look, Schopenhauer is really complicated. I didn't do a good job explaining it, but basically, ultimately, it's all mind. That's why it's hard to explain idealism, but it's all mind. There is no box in there, out there. Time and space is in our mind. The inside and the outside is all mind. Everything is mind. Now think about this. Human beings are a point of awareness. There is no box out there. These are all contingent things. When we talk about God, it's a intuitive, direct experience of mind, singular mind, not my mind, not your mind, the mind. The mind. It's hard. It's really hard to explain. I'd have to think of good examples, but ultimately speaking, that's what it culminates to. He's saying, look, you're making a claim of something out there. Not at all. Not at all. No mystic will ever say this. No mystic's going to tell you, oh, look, out there in the universe somewhere, I know this for a fact because I logically deduced it. Mystics will tell you, no, logic cannot take you that far. It's the complete opposite. That's why Schopenhauer, he praised Hinduism because he studied Hindu religion and he realized, look, these guys are right. They're trying to tell you, look, it transcends your logic. This guy's trying to apply logic onto God, onto saying religion is not true. We're talking about the mind. We're talking about the miracle of the mind. And the mind is known directly. And the mind is not subject to time and space. It's not subject to what we talked about earlier, material observation. It's beyond that. It's like you're living in two dimensions, okay? This is what Schopenhauer tell you. Look, you're living in the physical world, the world outside of multiplicity, and then you're living inside your head. You're living in two dimensions at the same time. You're seeing this external world, and then you have this internal world inside your head. And they're both TVs are on at the same time, and it's confusing you. You think one TV exists and the other one doesn't, and you keep flip-flopping back and forth. You can't deny those two TVs. There's two TVs going on at the same time. There's a story going on around you outside. That's what he calls the will. And then he says, look, you also have this internal will. There's another will. I'm getting complicated here, but later on there's only one will. But I don't want to... look, there's your internal will, and then there's the will you observe. And later on, he gels them together. Look, this guy's interesting, but he's still at a certain level of thinking. He only sees the outside world, and he's applying his logic to the outside world. Ultimately speaking, later on, as you go higher up the chain, as you go higher, you start realizing that the world you're observing outside of you is really inside a point of awareness within you. And then you realize the point of awareness is not within you. You go higher up the chain, you realize, hey, that point of awareness, I'm within it. And then you can understand singularity. It's really complicated stuff, but ultimately speaking, ask yourself this one question. Okay, I'm going to make it really simple. Everything you know, everything you experience It comes from a point of awareness. Now, you might think it's behind your eyes and between your ears, but it's not. Why? Because everything about space and time is also included in that awareness. That awareness is like a black hole. Everything you know and believe, everything you've ever experienced is in that awareness. Every logical thought, every logical experiment, every scientific study, it's all absorbed into that awareness. Now that awareness, even you, it's in me. No, the in me, the I, your ego, your belief, your name, your identity, it's all within that awareness. Again, so it's all absorbed, it's always getting absorbed into that one awareness. And then you realize this awareness contains everything and nothing contains it. Nothing. Then you've reached a point of no return. Then when somebody tells you something about physics or a syllogism about a box, you're realizing this guy doesn't understand. He hasn't understood something very important. He hasn't understood that it's all happening in one singular point. That awareness, the fact that you could talk about it, the fact that you could point it, it's nested in that awareness. And that awareness is not subject to time and space. Time and space are within it. Time and space are within it. It's not subject to time and space. Time and space, guys, is an illusion of the mind. This guy doesn't understand even Kant. And I don't blame him because Kant is very, very difficult to read. Guys, time and space is not a thing out there. It's not. Anybody, please, bring me proof that it is. Please. You know, it's funny because they're starting to come out with documentaries now. Like scientific documentaries. Does the universe exist? Does time exist? Like, these are old questions because information is being shared so fast, so often now, so at such a wide distribution. People are starting to come to more elevated thinking quicker. So now you might be 20 years old and you're getting bombarded with very sophisticated ideas. Whereas people might not have discovered that idea until they're 40. Information is being distributed at an incredibly fast rate right now. So you have these documentaries, like 10 years ago when I was on YouTube, they didn't have these documentaries. Now people are asking these questions, like they're realizing, hey, wait a second. They're all coming to this singularity, which is basically eventually, I'll give you guys the punchline. There is one point of awareness. That's why asking questions like, what's in the box? You think prophets of the past are telling us that they know something is out there because they use their reason? No, not at all. It's not about reason. Reason points us in the direction. But reason doesn't, look, no Muslim will ever tell you, oh, logic can encompass God. No, God is beyond logic. Logic points to God. It makes sense. Look, we're here. I have a parent, the infinite regress. We all talk about it. If I have a mom and she has a mom and everybody has a mom, somebody's got to have no mom. Like, there's got to be a start. Okay? There's got to be a start to the world. It can't be going, the chain can't go back infinitely. So we'll call it infinite regress. Okay? Suppose we're gonna start a race, and I'm the judge with the fire pistol. I'm gonna shoot the gun. And everybody's gonna start the race. But before I fire the gun, I gotta ask the judge behind me. I gotta ask him for permission. And that judge has another judge. He has to ask permission. He has a superior judge behind him. And that judge also has another judge. He's got to ask permission for that judge, and that the permission is going to come down the chain, and then I can fire the gun. But suppose there's an infinite amount of judges. Does the race ever start? The answer is a glaring no. So how could the world ever start? They say it's the problem of infinite regress. And philosophers, of course, come up with different answers. But there has to be, as Aristotle said, an unmoved mover. There's got to be a judge that can make the call without having to check with anybody else. Okay? And then when he makes that call, it goes down the chain. We fire the pistol. The race starts. Bada bing, bada bang. Okay? That's the problem of infinite regress in a nutshell. Okay, guys. I will probably check out that channel. It is interesting. I like how he does the graphics and all that. But what else we got? Guys, I'm going to end this shortly. Coach, what percentage of athleticism is genetic? Can non-athletic heavyweight develop athleticism in the nimble age of 28? That's from Art Grill. There's no exact percentage. I've never heard anybody coin a term. Honestly, it's that would be something very difficult to equate because it could be very different for people. Yeah, you could develop athleticism at 28, but it's limited. Look, the further you are away from puberty, the more and more it's difficult. The window's closing. Okay, I've talked about this in the past. I won't go into it again, but just get to it, man. It doesn't matter. Make the best of what you got. Which book of Plato did you name earlier? The Euthyphro. Euthyphro. Coach, quick question. How many strikes did you take to the head today? That's from Money is Dead. Are you a crypto fan? Is that it? How many shots did I take to the head today? Actually, I didn't box today. Oh. No, I just did conditioning today. Today actually I took it I just did a hard conditioning. Usually I wrestle or box every day, but today was a special day. I did a hard conditioning. Actually, I went to court today, guys. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I went to court today. That's why I kind of threw off my training schedule. I got into the gym. I was before a judge. My court case got pushed. Why am I in court? Why is the coach in court? Because I kept my gym open during that time I'm not supposed to talk about. Okay, the forbidden time. I kept my gym open. I was in front of a judge. They pushed my court case back because I didn't have a witness that was supposed to be there. And they're giving me push it back 6 more months, and I got other fines to go. So I'm going to the Palais de Justice now. I got other fines coming that I gotta fight. Other things. It's a fiasco. It's crazy, but they're giving me my fair chance to speak my side, so I'm happy to do that. But I was in front of a judge today. I had to get up super early, drive all the way downtown, park the car, get in there, talk to the prosecution. They gave me a plea deal. They're like, okay, we'll wipe out half of them, pay half. And I said, no, I want all of it wiped. I don't think I should get any tickets. So they were ready to bargain with me at least. Then I stood in front of the judge, and the judge is like, do you want your witness here? I said, yes. Yeah. So, okay, we'll bring the witness. It came down to a witness, missing a witness. So she said, like, come back in 6 months from now, believe it or not. Coach, you missed my super chat. I was asking how long I should do no-gi BJJ before transferring to MMA. Well, at least get your purple belt. I would say minimum purple belt. Like, but you should be doing boxing on the side. Like, box and do jiu-jitsu. There's no reason not to box. Or kickbox or Muay Thai. Gracie Baja versus 10th Planet. That's from Nicholas Michetti. Look, I would probably go Gracie Baja because I train with the Gracie, so I'm loyal to them. But also, the 10th Planet style, although I respect it very much, it doesn't work for me. I'm not that flexible. I don't like to put all my eggs in one basket, like that flexibility. Like I have a certain level of flexibility, and I feel if I do more, I'm gonna break my legs. And I don't particularly like that style. It's not my kind of style. So I'm much more of a Gracie Baja style. 27, late to start BJJ. I'm 6'4", kind of skinny in Montreal. That's from Shift. No, it's never too late to start BJJ. I don't care if you're 99 years old. It's never too late. Ryder, super chat reminder. Coach, what do you think of John Jones versus Tom Aspinall? Seems like Tom has faster hands than Gane. Guys, there's nobody could beat John Jones. There's just nobody. I'd have to look over Tom Aspinall's fights. I don't want to be unfair, but I just don't think there's anybody. You missed my super chat. Guys, how could I miss super chats? Where are they? Hassan Haytham, I clicked a vid on a playlist, clicked on videos. That's different channel, dark. Oh, did I get the wrong guy? You clicked a vid on a playlist. Click on videos. That's a different channel. Dark Water Hermit is an old man. No, that was his channel. I saw the old man. Oh, snap. You're right. Damn it. Guys, I'll have to... Look, I'm subscribing to Dark Water Hermit. I'll have to look at that. Damn it. All right, guys. Next time I will try to get... Kant and Schopenhauer basically say you can't trust your senses. Then they are limitations to your sight, for example. There are limitations to your sight. For example, you cannot see on the microscopic or atomic level because your eyes are limited. That's not really what they're saying, okay? Like Kant and Schopenhauer, they really go together, okay? Kant said, look, it's impossible to know the noumenal world. Schopenhauer believes he found a way. He calls it the narrow door. It's actually really fascinating, guys. I can't get into it. I can't do it justice. It's too deep. This stuff's too deep, man. It's psychotic. It's really interesting stuff. One day I'll think of a good thought experiment I got to think of a good way to put it because I haven't. And it's deep, man. I'm telling you, because Schopenhauer tells you, look, if you didn't read Kant, don't read my stuff. You're never gonna understand it. And then he says, look, Kant was wrong. Kant says, look, this wall, we reach this wall, it's impassable. It's this impassable wall. And Schopenhauer says, no, I found a way. Look, there's this little narrow door here. And he thinks he got across. I don't think he did necessarily. I think it's a bit of a gray area. And he basically flirts with mysticism. Schopenhauer is interesting because he flirts with mysticism. I don't think he ever actually gets there, but he flirts with it. He actually flirts with it. It was just fascinating. Oh boy. Okay, guys, no more super chats, please. Can I try start tomorrow at 6:45? That's from Nicholas Michetti. I'll be there. You better start. Sahil Sai, $4.99. Thank you very much. That's your first super chat. Congratulations. Thank you very much to me and you. Thank you very much. How to set new boundaries with a family and friend after marriage? Do you think it's important to introduce friends to new spouse? How to set new boundaries with family and friends after marriage? Do you think it's important to introduce friends to your new spouse? That's from Panda Cat. Absolutely. Guys, your wife, she needs to have friends and a life and a social clique. It's super important. And you do too, and you need to hang out with other couples and It's very important for couples to hang out with other couples, especially women. They need that. You know, men, when we call each other, it's like, hey, you're going training? Yeah, okay, good. See you later. Hang up. Women, they call, hey, how are you? What'd you wear today? Did you go shop? Guys, I know I'm generalizing, but I'm talking in general. I know some women are not like that, and I know some men are not like that. But if one of my buddies called me to ask me what I'm wearing, I'd freak out on him. I'm like, what the hell? I would take it as a joke and hang up on him. Women will call her friends just to see how they're feeling. And that's not men. Men were more like nuts and bolts. Oh, is there fights on? Is there a game on? We're going to share into an activity we enjoy. Or we're barbecuing. Okay, guys, get the barbecue. We're excited about barbecue. Okay, we're going to work on this. Oh, we're going to train. We're going to work on a car. We're activity-based. Women just want to chit-chat and see how you feel, by and large, okay? You need to have that social network. And yeah, of course, I mean, I don't know why you're asking me about boundaries. Boundaries should be set with your wife. You know, you should sit down with your wife, see how your wife thinks. Me, when I married my wife, I talked to her and I told her, look, because I want to understand her mind. I said, on the continuum, imagine two ends of a continuum. One, two highly independent people in a relationship, meaning they barely talk to each other. They have separate lives and they get together for what a man and woman get together, and the rest of their lives is pretty much separate. Or on the other end, constantly together, constantly messaging, constantly in touch with each other. Like, you have to be together 24 hours a day as much as possible, and that's the way it is. And I told her, look, I like to be in this area. And I'm like, where do you like to be? To see if we're compatible. Because she was like, oh, we have to be 24 hours together, or we have to be completely parallel lives and it's just business. That wouldn't work for me. So I'd have to compromise or break ties. These kind of talks are very important. And I'm just giving you one example because I'm the type of guy, like, I have a certain level of independence that because I travel, I can't be there 24 hours a day. Is it acceptable? I know this is my lifestyle. You foresee problems. You think ahead. That way you don't fall into every pothole on the way there. Instead, you'll be far more successful. Sit down, talk to your wife, learn how she's thinking, learn her thoughts. Don't ignore your wife's way of thinking. Like, try to figure out what she likes, what she doesn't like. These are very important things. Very basic, but super important. Very important communication. Have discussions with your wife. Find out what she's interested in. Talk to her about it. If your wife is interested in something and you're not, get interested. Same thing for your kids. My kids like all sorts of stuff I don't like. I still get into it. I want to know, hey, we hang out, we talk, we have something in common. Don't be the type of person that has nothing in common with their wife, their kids, their brother, their uncles, their sister, their mother, their friends. Find things in common. And even if you don't like it, doesn't matter. Swallow it. Sometimes they're going to do that for you. Sometimes you're going to do that for them. Like, I'm not a big fan of basketball, but I play basketball because one of my sons loves basketball. So he's outside shooting hoops. I go and I shoot hoops with him. When they're into something, I'm into something. Not full force, but I gotta know. I gotta share it with them. This is super important advice, guys. If you care about somebody, share in what they like. My daughter likes all sorts of things I don't like, but I like it for her. Instagram medical medium. That's from Kasun Peheha. I have no idea what that means. Instagram. I know what the word Instagram means. I know what the word medical means. And medium, I can understand. But the three words together mean nothing to me. All right, guys, I'm going to do one last question. Please, no more super chats. Solditch versus Kadestaman. For sure, I'm going Solditch. I work with him for a long time, so he's family to me. He's always number one on my. He's always my pick. I'll never go against him. Instagram medical medium. Come on, coach. Let me look this up. Instagram medical medium. I have no idea what this is. What? Medical medium. What? This guy's healing acne? I don't know. I'd have to look into it, but I think he's healing a skin condition. It's just a guy on Instagram. Don't tell me what to do. What you wearing, coach? Draco, thanks for asking, man. I'm wearing silk. No, I'm just kidding. What you wearing? You know, I've never had a buddy call me and ask me what I'm wearing. Never. It's never happened once. I think I would have to smack him. Is fasting secularized prayer? That's from Jacob No More. Look, if you fast on a regular basis, you will develop a spiritual side. There's no mistake about it. Type in quotes about fasting. You're gonna see all sorts of stuff. Like, I left it out of the book because that's not the topic. It's more about performance. But there's no way, if you fast for years, a prolonged period of time, you won't develop that sense. Because remember, I was telling you earlier, it's like human beings live in two dimensions at once. You start getting in touch with the inner dimension, because your inner dimension is refusing to obey the outer dimension, the gut, the stomach, the desire. It's refusing. It's becoming stronger, and then it becomes more present. It's like if you have two TV screens and one of them is getting brighter than the other. You just see it more. You recognize it more. You didn't recognize it before, but now you recognize it more and more. But I wouldn't tell you intermittent fasting will take you there. Like deep fasting can take you there. But it's a tough journey. Fasting could be a very tough journey. All right, guys, let's end it up on a good one. Coach, can you cross-examine my fill argument? I just spun up. I don't know what that means, buddy. Do you think Israel can beat Pereira? Yes, I think that's like a 50-50 fight. I'm going to have to do probably a deep analysis on that, but that's a tough one, man. That's a tough fight to call. Remember when Vitor got Jones in the armbar? That's from Alex Chu. Yes, absolutely. What book is he talking about? Oh, Coach cross-examine my field argument. Okay, guys, I'm finding one last one to end it on. What else we got here? Come on, guys. You're killing me here with these questions. You're killing me. Give me something good to finish on. Coach, don't tap and go to sleep. No. I'm doing one more. Come on, guys. You're failing me here. You're failing me here. Throw. I want 50 questions up on the board. 50 questions right away. Okay, guys, I'm gonna dim the lights. Burning my eyes. Give me 1 second. I want good questions when I come back. Real good ones. That thing was burning my eyes. All right, give me some good questions, guys, or I'm gonna start taking heads. I rule the chat with an iron fist. If you don't ask a question, you can get guillotined off with your head. Ah, here we go. Now we got a boost of questions. See, you threaten the people with violence, you threaten people with death, and they obey you. I like a good ordered chat room. Coach, we would love it if you got on the Twitter space as well. I got locked out of my Twitter. I don't even know my password. I was trying to put in my password the other day and it wouldn't work. I went through all the hoops. I can't get in I can't get in the Twitter no more. It's insane. I'm going to try again, but I got to figure out the Twitter. I just got back into my Facebook. Facebook was a nightmare. I had to send him a picture of my passport. It was insane. It was insane. Your take of being of unity. That's from Munir. We already talked about that. I didn't give a good example. I'm going to have to think of better examples in the future. Your opinion on numerology or astrology? Not good. I don't have a high opinion of either of those two. Yo, Faraz got scammed. You got scammed? I don't know why. How'd you get scammed? Best way to meditate. For us, you stole your identity. They stole your identity. Yeah, might have somebody locked me out because I put and I'm sure about my password because I haven't changed it since my first day one. Well, my password will work no more. Yeah, they hacked me. I don't know what they did, but they didn't do any. I don't think they did anything. I haven't checked my Twitter, so I don't know if my Twitter's saying something funky. Guys, please let me know. Fezzi says they can't ask for your passport. Well, Facebook did. I uploaded up. Was it Facebook or another? I can't remember, but I sent one of them my passport, my ID. Coach, how do you think Andrew Tate would get out of jail considering Romanian corruption? That's from Sigma. Guys, I hate the fact that he's in jail. Like, I know he speaks his mind, and I don't agree with everything he says. I'm telling you, I wrote the man an email before he went to jail. I was warning him. I wrote him an email months before. I said, look, they're going to put you in a cage or they're going to kill you. Because he's too opinionated. And now he converted to Islam. Oh, man. He's too famous, too popular, too influential. And I'm sad to say, I think, look, there's a reason why he's so popular. Because people are fed up with feminism, putting their boot on the neck of man. And I'm not. Look, women were treated badly. They rose up. And now they're getting revenge. And now men are trying to rise back up. It's a seesaw battle. We have to learn to coexist and treat each other well. I think feminism is a byproduct of men treating women badly. Don't say no. It's always, revolutions are always like that. We treated women badly for too long. They didn't like their position. And I'm very familiar with the history of feminism. I'm not an expert in it, but I'm familiar with it. I understand World War II had a major influence on it. World War II was a catalyst, but it was a long time coming. Women were put down. They were mistreated. They rose up. They fought for their piece of the pie. I get it. But now men are kind of like getting squashed. And they're fighting back. And Andrew Tate is like leading the charge. He's taking all the bullets. I was joking around with my buddies. Actually, I was talking to George St. Pierre and I was like, could you go in your house today? Can you go in your own home today and say, hey, I'm the man in this house. Can you do that? Can you go in your home and say out loud? Can you say that on the internet? Hey, I'm Coach Zahabi and I'm the man. Can you say that, or is it taboo? Is it considered bad? Because let me tell you something. When I was growing up, you didn't have to say you were the man of the house. Everybody knew it. And sometimes the fathers' husbands would say that. You'd go in somebody's house and be like, hey, I'm the king of this castle. You would see it on sitcoms. I'm the king of this castle. Nowadays, that's dead. Like, you can't say that. It's like, oh, If you say that, you're bad. It's mean. It's distasteful. It's whatever you want to call it. It's not socially acceptable anymore. That's like in my lifetime, it's changed like 20 years. Boom, change. Can't say that no more. Whereas when I was growing up, it was very common. Who's the man of this house? Oh, this guy's the man of the house. The man of the house was like, he calls the shots. He's the boss. That stuff is dead. Now, I think, to be honest, Andrew Tate, things he says are too extreme. But I understand there's a sentiment. He's pulling on the heartstrings. But now the fact that they have him in jail, I think it's been 3 months, and they're saying now there's a rumor that he has, and I hope it's not true, lung cancer, which I really hope it's not true because that's really, really sad. Now, if he has lung cancer and he's in prison, that's a serious ailment. I hope he's comfortable in there. Like, I hope they're taking care of him. If he's guilty for what they said he did, if they show real proof, I'll condemn him. I'll tell him it's so, like, if he did that, it's so bad. But when you're rich and famous and people come after you, you have to wonder, are these people trying to exploit him? Because people, like it or not, people want to see him burn and crash. He's not the most loved guy in the world. He's loved by many, but he's also hated by many. So when they have that type of motivation, I have to see real proof. I won't condemn a man unless I see real proof. It could be and it could not be. We don't know. We have to see real proof. And if there is proof, where is it? Why hasn't it come out yet? We're all waiting. I wish the man well. I don't wish the man cancer. I don't wish cancer on anybody. I don't hope at all that if he's innocent. I don't hope that he's in jail if he's innocent. And if he is guilty, he should be in jail. Okay? But if he is innocent, I really hope he gets out soon. And if he's ill, I really hope he gets the right treatment. I really hope he recovers. Guys, thank you for tuning in. On that note, I'm going to end this episode, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.